just there's no reason to do it at this time now. So maybe it'll be earlier. We'll see. I'll think about it.
Hey, David.
Hey,
So
Will.
I actually just saw the listing for this meetup like 10 minutes ago. So
Yeah, I saw.
I
I didn't notice that you had joined my group. You joined last week sometime.
yep.
That's cool. I'm glad you did. I didn't notice that, but I see that you have. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's great.
you run very, very good philosophy groups. Um,
Oh, well,
so
bless your
I
heart.
was really interested in, seeing what else you did. But yeah, for
Oh,
this group, I did not get the comic book. I didn't
oh
read it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is our graphic novel discussion group, and I've been doing it. I guess we started June, I think June, and over the time we've done some good ones. Are you a comics guy? Are you a graphic novel fan at all?
I really haven't had the opportunity to read too many. I read the Ghost in the Shell series. I
Oh,
read the original Star Wars one. That was a gift, though.
oh,
I read,
okay.
let me think. Hmm.
We have well, for me, it's that we have a movie discussion group, and we have a lot of literature discussion groups. We have novels and short story discussion groups, classics and like ancient Greek groups that cover stuff like that. So I know I just think the comics form is a as effective an art form as movies or television or novels, and I figured there's a lot of great comics out there. We should have a group to cover good ones.
One of my roommates was actually a comic book writer. He wasn't, well, he did some of the art, but not much of it.
Oh,
You might know him. His pen name.
like a professional?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. I forget his pen name. Let me look it up for a moment. His name was Milo, but I don't. He doesn't make that public.
Yeah, I've been reading comics my whole life, and I still think it's just a magical medium. It's not deserving of the reputation it still to this day has of being just kid stuff and superheroes or children's stories. It has the ability to do anything that film or television or novels can do.
Literature for the feeble-minded. How does that grab you?
Yeah, right.
His real name is Milo Orr, but I don't know if I don't remember his pen name.
Comic books, the art form for people who hate women just a little more than they hate art.
Really?
That's what I heard someone say once.
Yeah.
Anyway. We've done From Hell, and you've gone the backlog. We've got some good stuff out there. I've been reading them my whole life, and yeah. There's a lot of stuff I haven't read and that I've always wanted to read, and I figure this will probably give me like the kind of spur to do it. And it's worked out quite well. I've actually put in stuff to give me that. Okay, now I actually have to read it. So, so I've been choosing a lot of stuff that I haven't read before. Yeah. So
And Psychism, Grace Fate.
and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Perfect Blue.
Oh yeah, it's on Tuesday. Yeah, you joined a week ago. I'm glad you did. I missed that you joined.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's stuff happening.
I haven't been too vocal in the philosophy groups recently because I understand that I don't understand it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't
That's not
understand it
good.
at the level that other people do. And I often feel like I don't have formal training in philosophy. I've taken a few courses here and there. So a lot of the background, like people talk
Okay.
about Heraclitus and they throw these names around all the time and they really understand the breadth of this. I get the words, but you know,
Well, I mean, for the Monday night you're talking about, you're listening to the audio lectures?
yeah, yeah. I listen to the lectures and I read the notes, and I often read the texts, although I don't always have the time for it.
Right.
Uh, but
Well, I mean, well, certainly Matt is a great explainer. I mean, that's why we're listening to him. He's, um,
anyway, could you send me the?
I'll be happy to. I'll be happy to. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able
Yeah.
to do anything for tonight, but I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to send it to you. Yeah, if you're interested in reading it. This is Century by Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill, and this is a part of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series, which
Oh.
I had not read. Came out in 2009, I think it was, but I hadn't read it before. Always wanted to, so maybe let's get talking about it. So Jeff, what did you think of this chapter?
I very much enjoyed it. I again was really impressed with the visuals. I've been really focusing on how beautiful the pictures and the storyboards are.
Yeah.
It got a little bit difficult for me to follow at some plot points. So, like last time, I'll appreciate you going through some of the plot points so that I can, in retrospect, figure it out. But yeah, he's a beautiful. He draws. He makes beautiful images, for sure.
Sure. Well, Kevin O'Neill, we talked about it last time. I always love Kevin O'Neill's stuff. So yeah, we might as well just get into it. Okay, so a spoiler warning, Will. I'm not actually sure what we'll cover. As we talked about last week, yeah, and if you really want to get into the whole annotations, they're online. You can do that on your own. But yeah, I mean, just stuff like this. I mean, just when O'Neill lets himself go and just indulges in his stronger urges, I just think the results are quite lovely. Okay. All right. So need some feedback. Hey, Stephen.
Hello.
Hey there. Welcome. I just made some preliminary comments, and let's see how far we get through some of these. As I say, yeah, like as last week, every single thing in every panel has something to do with something, and we would just spend hours going through it, and there's no need to do it. You can find it all online. Like there's Christopher Robin and Pooh and Piglet. Now these characters, again, I don't know. It's your choice as to whether or not you really want to, delve into, okay, who is who. If you want to, you can play that game, or you can just take it at the surface level of just being an adventure story. It's totally your choice. But if we want to, I think this is the character in that one movie that Mick Jagger played. If you want me to figure out the specific, I mean, he's a pretty important character, so we might as well. What is it? The movie was the Nick Rogue movie Performance, 1970. The character Mick Jagger plays Turner Purple. if well, I mean that's an important character, so we should go through that. So this is Turner Purple, the Mick Jagger character in the movie Performance, 1970. Don't suppose anybody saw it. I certainly don't. And so on and so on. And so this is him at his house, obviously. Monks we saw from the last episode coming in, and here's what's going on. And the specific drug that they're taking, yeah, I'd have to go back and forth and to the annotations and doing that, and I don't feel like doing that. So, and all these characters in the background, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know, we don't need to. Unless anybody really wants to. If you really want to, just ask. I'll be happy to. Okay, so I'm not even sure if I have a whole lot to say about this particular episode. Getting some feedback again. Okay, here we have Janny. Steve was saying just earlier, we spent the whole last episode building up Janny Nemo, and then we don't even get to see her story. Well, I was going to say, Steve, yeah, we can, and if you're interested, if you really want to, I'll be happy to put that one on after we're done with 2009 next week. I don't mind. Don't mind at all. I haven't read that one either. And
sorry, was there another comic which features her character?
That's what I was going to tell you. There's another portion that follows Janny and her adventures as Captain Nemo, and I'll be happy to do that one after this if you would like.
I have a random question.
Go ahead.
How much of this is computer generated image?
Well, I don't think any of it. Well, I mean the color.
So it's is this a general rule for comics and graphic novels? It's all hand drawn.
I don't think there is a general rule. It just depends on the artist. My understanding is Kevin O'Neill is very, very traditional in terms of how he draws. I think he's a traditionalist. Yeah, just ink on paper. Yeah,
ink on paper.
Yep.
Oh, even more impressive.
The coloring, I think there's a possibility it might be Photoshop, given that it was, I think this was 2009 when this came out. So that might be the color might be Photoshopped. Yeah, but other than that, the line art is pretty traditional. No, I can't see that he would have done any computer work on any of this. But you're right. It's absolutely it's absolutely delightful. I've always loved Kevin O'Neill's artwork. I certainly have. And now we can see, his grandson, and there's a specific about the lineage. Anyway, we can go into it. If we do every single tiny little bit, this will take hours. I don't think we want to do that. So as I say, they're all online. You can just Google it, and you can find it.
David, can you explain these characters to me as they come up?
Yeah, again, well, spoiler warning, if you really wanted to read this and like enjoy it as a reader, but I'll be happy to.
Do it. Spoil it.
This is Captain Nemo. This is now the original Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, of course, was Prince Dakar. He was a Sikh prince, and this is his, I believe, his granddaughter, Janny Nemo, who after his death, we're here in 1969, took up the mantle of Captain Nemo, as we saw in the last episode. And I believe this is her grandson and daughter. I think that's right. This is Wilhelmina Murray from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Hence the scarf, because of her scarred neck. Still alive in 1969 and still in her 20s. Wilhelmina Murray from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Some secret African pool or something.
Yeah, this is Alan. Yeah. This is Alan Quatermain from King Solomon's Mines. Now, what happened was they went to the Uganda what do you the fountain of youth, whatever it was, the well of immortality, and they partook of it, and that's why they're still alive. Yeah, that Alan Quatermain found in Uganda. Yeah, that's right. This is Orlando from the novel of the same name by Virginia Woolf.
But Orlando was always immortal anyway, it seems.
Yes, yeah, he's naturally immortal on his own, so he didn't have to do anything to be. Yeah, he's already immortal.
The bit that bothers me is Mina slipping so easily into the hippie era.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to talk about, because we're now getting the impression here about what's going on psychologically with all of these characters. You know, Mina is very, very self-conscious about getting old and getting out of date and irrelevant, and she's trying her hardest to stay relevant and stay up with the times and altering her vocabulary. There's a lot of interesting psychology here at work. We'll see as we get into it. So yeah, I thought that was actually pretty interesting. You're right. This is I think it's an interesting comic, Will. The idea being, okay, what if you take the characters from literature, and the original characters were Wilhelmina Murray from Bram Stoker's Dracula, Alan Quatermain, the Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Captain Nemo. There was a movie, actually. I hope you did not see it, because I didn't see it. I saw parts of it. It's horrible. So I hope nobody saw it, or if you did, forget about it. I hope. Anyway, and the idea is just see if you can come up with a good story about this.
A bad movie.
I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't see.
Oh, you mean the movie version? What came out 15 years ago or something, of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think all that greatly of it. It was watchable. It had Sean Connery in it, didn't it? Yeah.
The movie that killed Sean Connery's career. Yeah. Okay, this is all right. This guy is actually worth looking up. What do you call him? What's the guy's name? Oh, okay. This is Carter from the movie Jack Carter, 1971, played by Michael Caine. Right there. That's Benny Hill right there. I say, yeah, that's Benny Hill right there. If anybody cares.
So who was Alan Carter meant to be?
Jack Carter. I never saw that movie. That's he's Michael Caine plays Jack Carter, a British gangster.
Okay. Based on the Cray brothers or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, okay. All right. And as I say, like, everybody in every panel is somebody. This is one of those comics where every single person in every panel is indeed somebody. Let me. Now I got it. Here we go.
I'm still trying to figure out what a vril is.
Sure. Okay. Okay, the chap in the bow tie with the overweight lady is Professor Simon Peach from the 1969 version of The Italian Job, played by Benny Hill.
All right,
in the movie, had a fetish for large women. Okay. The blonde-haired man, it says here, Budgie Bird, played by Adam Faith in the TV series Budgie. Okay, like I said, every single person here. Okay. Okay. The two gangsters, doormen, could possibly be Harry the Hatchet and Barry the Baptist from the 1998 film Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Maybe, possibly. or else they're the Piranha Brothers. Now the guy over there, where he's with his leg up, you see that in the far left. Okay, it says here in Colin Wilson's Adrift in Soho, Ironfoot Jack was a strange-looking man, a cross between a tramp and a character out of The Prisoner of Zelda. A dirty cravat was held by an enormous brass ring. He was a big man with the shoulders of a wrestler, and his bulk contrasted oddly with his voice. Anyway, so it seems to be that would be Ironfoot Jack from Colin Wilson's novel Adrift in Soho. Okay, now what is a vril? You say the sex show, A Woman and a Vril. That's a reference to the Vril Ya from Bulwer Lytton's The Coming Race, 1871. In the novel, the Vril Ya are a technologically and biologically advanced species of humanoids who live in a subterranean civilization.
In the novel, they were a pure Aryan race. So I don't know what this guy is. He's sort of a grotesque off the Cathedral of Notre Dame, you know.
Yeah, possibly. Didn't read the novel, so I don't know. That's Terry Thomas, the comedian there. And that is okay, let me go to that one. Oh, that's the Carry On films.
Oh, right. Sid James.
You see all those? Yeah, those are the Carry On cast.
Okay.
Joan Sims, Sid James, Charles Hawtrey, and Kenneth Williams. Every single person in the background, you know, they don't get a line. They're just there. Yeah. Okay, and now the point is here, the Vril is his wings have been cut off. So he's been mutilated and put to work here. Okay, and as I say, like every single person here, as I say, we could just do this for hours and hours, and we wouldn't get very far. It's online if you want to go through this. Okay. So they go to their place. Here's their headquarters. And all the different things going on here, one by one. You could spend an hour on this, and I'm amazed that people took the time to do this, and it took, I think, several months for everybody to pull them through. There's like the first version. The picture there is the first version of the league, and I can't go through all of them. There's the another incarnation, so on and so on. Now, all this does line up with the text piece in the back, if we read that. Yeah. Now, one thing that you find in this is ostensibly supposed to be an adventure story, but there's just a lot of, just sitting around and talking. Yeah. In my opinion, I think that's deliberate. I think they deliberately do that. I think that's in an attempt to subvert the expectations of the genre. This is not intended to be that kind of an adventure story where it's a little bit more cerebral. I think that's deliberately intended. It's just a lot of not as many adventure set pieces that you'd find in like a James Bond movie or whatever the heck. Okay, and so Oliver Haddo appears. And that is Excalibur. She grabs the authentic Excalibur, and very nearly does in Alan. Okay. Oh, and they're Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, really?
Pippi Longstocking, grown up and fallen a bit on hard times.
It was me ex. That's what I used to say. Me ex looked like Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, really? Well, all right.
Oddly enough, she was told that by a Danish woman. So,
yeah. Oh, and here you go, Steve. How about this? This one right here.
All right, he's got the cork hat on, so he's supposed to be an Australian. The famous one in London at the time was the guy who played Barry McKenzie.
I think you're onto it. Yeah.
Oh, right, that's got Dame Edna Everage.
That's Dame Edna Everage. That's Dame Edna. Barry Humphries. No, see what's going on here is okay. That is Dame Edna Everage. Barry Humphries. Now the thing is that was a character from
movie. They did it. Don't know if they did a stage play, but it was made into a movie.
Okay, yeah, no, that is right. Yeah. But anyway, Barry McKenzie did a comic strip called Private Eye. Now, that is Barry McKenzie, the cork dangling hat character is Barry McKenzie, and now the third one right there, at the right of the panel, is Sir Les Patterson.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So you get three different incarnations of Barry Humphries in one panel. How about that? I kind of expected you were gonna get a kick out.
No. I've been doing some gardening anyway. I was a bit out there. You know, I still haven't really sat and looked at these comics in depth.
Okay, but I
was sort of going with this one a bit better than the last one, but
okay.
There were things that were appealing in it to me, but overall, it's still not my type of comic. I could appreciate the adventure. I could sort of appreciate the idea of struggling with Aleister Crowley.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, art is always going to be, you either dig it or you don't.
Yeah, but I'd say one of the hardest things to change is once you've set a personality within a certain culture, to change that personality is very, very difficult. That's I don't like the way they're behaving. Nobody slips into a different cultural trip.
Well, I wouldn't say nobody. Yeah, you're right. It is very difficult. But yeah, I think there is an effort of what do the kids call it today? I think the kids call it try hard. I got that one thrown at me once, and I had to look it up at Urban Dictionary because I didn't know what that was. I think the kids call it try hard. Where you're trying to adopt a persona that's not native to yourself. So I guess that would be the case here with Minna. She's desperately trying to stay youthful and with it and hip, as we can see throughout this entire story. And of course, there we have the second Doctor.
Yeah, Patrick Troughton.
You caught that one, Patrick Troughton. Yeah, you caught that. And actually, I do think this is from one of the episodes. What's going on here? It does say that. Let me see if I can find that.
Probably one of the lost episodes.
It's from The Invasion, where he and Jamie McCrimmon, played by Fraser Hines, whose hair we see at the bottom of the panel in front of the Doctor, are nonchalantly walking down a street in London. The Doctor, having noticed that they are being followed by several unknown agents, see behind the Doctor here in the hat, whom the Doctor can be seen leering at. Okay, so that's actually a scene from one of the episodes.
Yes, I certainly don't like the what they've done to Doctor Who over time. I find even watching the very first Doctor is way better than watching the stuff today.
I stopped when Peter Capaldi started. Not because of him, because I actually thought he was actually pretty good, but I just had my fill, I think, by that point. Isn't there a point where you just stop? In anything?
Yeah, well, you can't go on forever.
Yeah, exactly. there's got to be a stopping point. There's got to be, okay, that's enough. And I think I hit my allotment for Doctor Who. I did watch the first one with Jodie Whittaker, and yeah, okay. All right. So anyway, and here we go. Here again, Steve. You got this one?
Okay, where's your pointer?
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, you're Jerry Cornelius.
Jerry Cornelius.
I knew it was an incarnation of the Eternal Champion.
Jerry Cornelius. My goodness me.
Are they paying Moorcock royalties for this?
Alan Moore and Michael Moorcock are friends. They're actually good friends of each other. I'm sure he got permission for this. I'm sure he did. But yeah, Jerry Cornelius. I thought you'd get a kick out of this too. I thought you would. I mean, just look at this: Jerry Cornelius, Minna Murray from Dracula, Orlando, and Alan Quatermain. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like the Marvel movies. It's like, okay, we're gonna get everybody to team up. We got Spider-Man, and we got Iron Man, and we got Captain America, and and Thor, and the Hulk, and we're gonna put them all together in the same universe, in the same world. And this is exactly the same idea.
Oddly enough, I did see Stuart Granger at a book signing in Melbourne about 35 years ago.
Oh.
He was the one of the ones that played the Quatermain character, wasn't he? And
it's okay. When you really think about it, it's kind of an absurd, bonkers idea, but who cares? It's just for fun. It's just a lot of fun. Either you find it fun or you don't. One way or the other. Don't take it too seriously. Alfred Hitchcock, right there. Yeah, don't take it too seriously. It's this is an idea of what the London Underground logo would look like if you had the atomic flying cars that they have.
Oh, right. Okay.
If you had a world where the trains were flying, what would the logo?
I don't know who the guy with the toothbrush mustache is supposed to be.
Sure thing. Let me see if I can do that for you. I'm trying to do through the reference here. The London Underground symbol in the background is different from the one in our world. With wings, if you see one of the aerial trains flying by. Okay. Okay, the man on the far left is reading the Daily Brute, reference to Evelyn Waugh's Scoop, 1938.
Which means?
Okay. It doesn't say, but somebody made a guess that maybe Charlie Chaplin's Adenoid Heinkel.
That might be Steptoe and Son.
That is you got it. You're doing well. Yeah, that's it. That's where does it say this? Gosh darn it. Yeah, that is Steptoe and Son. Behind the Steptoes, that's Fred Kite from I'm All Right Jack, played by Peter Sellers.
Wait a second. He reminds me, the character with the toothbrush mustache reminds me of the prison warden out of Clockwork Orange. He's in the wrong clothes, I think.
That might possibly be. Possibly. I'll make an.
They were all pretty young. The guys in the Clockwork Orange, those prison guards were pretty young, if I remember, because they were all his friends.
Oh, Clockwork Orange.
prison guard. He was sort of the chief prison guard warden.
That wouldn't.
character.
So that wouldn't be this because Clockwork Orange was in the future. So that would not be this. Remember, Will, or anybody did remember the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Now that was this. You're shaking your head no. That was the same idea. If you put all the cartoon characters in the same world, but the idea was that the cartoon characters had to be in the same continuum. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Oops, sorry. So this couldn't be a reference to Clockwork Orange because that would be in the future, and we're still in 1969. So yes, that is the so that headline there. Millionaire guy gives a fortune away. That's a reference to The Magic Christian, the movie with Peter Sellers, Ringo Starr.
No, they were actually Peter Sellers might have played a guy with a toothbrush mustache in one movie.
Well, yeah, that's right.
I don't understand any of these references at all.
Well, you're an American, unfortunately. You haven't been watching British TV like
No.
David, obviously.
I'm not proudly an American. I'm not happy to be an American.
You probably wouldn't even know what black pudding was.
Glad I don't.
Yeah, you might be
Steve,
right.
you make me laugh.
That's what happens to pudding when you leave it out for several years.
That's what
That's-
I'm saying. You don't have to know all of this. If you could read this completely straight. You don't have to know the references. There's no reason for you to. It's just there if you want to, and you don't have to. You can just ignore them, but they're there for anybody who wants them. They're just a different layer for a different reader who can pick them up and get some joy out of it. But that's completely optional. You could read the story without noticing any of this. Okay, so the guy with the mustache, I believe that is indeed identified as Fred Kite from I'm All Right, Jack, played by Peter Sellers. He was a trade unionist with Stalinist sympathies.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that
that's
would be, that would be
He
accurate.
played that character in the late 50s, if I remember correctly.
So this
in a
is
movie.
1969, so this would be 10 years later. So he would be older. Yeah.
So he has Stalinist sympathies, but he has a Hitler mustache.
He's a character type which is peculiar more to British society, is what was called the shop steward, who was, sort of the union rep at any place. So he was making out like he's leader of the Soviet sort of thing. They're getting a bit more Soviet style in Britain with the trade unionism, I suppose.
Okay. Here you go. Fred Kite, played by Peter Sellers in the movie I'm All Right, Jack. There you go. That's him.
Does Alan Moore do this with every comic he wrote?
Goodness, no. Goodness
Okay.
me, no.
He doesn't fill it with obscure
1959,
references
yes.
everywhere.
So let's, as I say, this is just for the fun of it. If you wanted to play the particular game of spotting the references, you can, but you don't have to. And here we go. Surely you get this one, Will. Surely you get this one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that is Monty Python.
Yeah. there you
Ministry
go.
of Silly
There you
Walks.
go.
Oh, yeah.
John Cleese, Ministry of Silly Walks. Okay, I would have been astonished if you hadn't got that one. Okay, so they go to the shop here.
So are there any Goodies fans here? The Goodies? You can see, watch them on.
Peter Sellers and
They're a comedy team. And it was
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
put on in the kids' hour. They were in the 1970s, and when you're a kid, you just absolutely love them.
Yeah, Tim Brooke Taylor, Graham Garden, and Bill Oddie. My memory is, I believe they played old goodies episodes in some of the radio shows, radio stations that I listened to. I was, yeah.
Yeah, you can watch them all on what's that free to air thing like YouTube, but Daily Motion. Daily Motion's got all the episodes, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Where am I? Oh, I need to go back to you. Okay. Okay. Okay, so they go to the shop. I mean, I don't know if we want to go through. Oh, I did actually like this because it's just such a, again, spoiler warning. I'm ruining all the great moments here in this by doing it this way. This is a terrible way of reading a story because you're ruining it for yourself. But this is such an interesting sequence, which he duplicates. Well, I mean, the same thing happens in Providence. If you read that. I'm kind of pondering whether or not we want to cover that one. We probably won't. But all these names, Carswell, Trelawney, Marcato, these are all different Aleister Crowley people who characters in different films or novels. And the idea is, well, they were all Aleister Crowley, well, Oliver Haddo in this case. Anyway,
is this guy running some kind of sex ring or
who? Aleister Crowley?
No, the dying guy and his son. They're talking about rituals and concubines and.
Yes. Yeah. There's a large story here to read the the full plot of what's going on here. And the plot is they are this cult. Oliver Haddo is trying to raise the Moon Child, and who's going to bring about the apocalypse and bring about the revolution, an eon of hellfire and torment and darkness, etc., etc. That's the plot of what's going on here.
Aleister Crowley, you might as well explain, was the famous British black occultist.
I know. I really hope everybody knows who Aleister Crowley is. I hope everybody does, but you know
who.
Yeah, it's like
if I know who they are, these older guys do.
All right, I get it. I just earlier today I was listening to a podcast. I listen to like old comedy podcasts, and people were saying the exactly same thing. Kids today don't know who the Marx Brothers were. Kids today don't know, and yeah, I get that. I know it's always gonna be that way. The generations go on, and I get that, but still. I don't know. I always took an interest in what came before me. I remember, listening to old radio when some of the stations would play old stuff and old comedy, and I liked the Marx Brothers when I was 9 years old. I thought they were funny, Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I'm an old guy complaining about the young people today.
You're not old. What are you, like 27, 25?
What, me?
Yeah.
No, that's his stage of maturity. Where he's talking about his physical age.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look, I've known young people that are bald. I got the sense that you were like a year or two out of college. You had this great Professor Matt, and you're like, I got to share this philosophy with the world, man. And that's what I thought you were all about. I thought in my mind, I thought you were like some hip guy living in maybe California with a bunch of cats and doing good stuff for the world, all about, philosophy. I didn't think you were older than 27.
You know who was president when I was born?
Who?
Nixon.
Really?
Nixon was president when I was born.
Nixon. He wasn't president for very long.
Oh, no, he got in 68.
68, yeah.
He got a second term.
68, and he was re-elected, yeah.
I actually can remember, so it would have been late 67 when he was elected. I was sitting in the school library.
What was it? Nixon, Carter, Ford, Bush?
Nixon, 68 at first term to 68 to 72, re-elected. Then I believe he was he resigned. I believe 75, was it 75 or 76? 76. Yeah, 76. And then Vice President Ford until, no, it was 75, wasn't it? Because at least Ford was at least for a year. Yeah, look it up, Google it. And then,
which is amazing. He was
76 election.
He was persecuted by the press for doing things which would probably be the daily norm now in politics.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? That's Reagan. What Reagan did was child's play compared to what's going on right now. I have watched documentaries like 1969, A Turning Point in American History, and I think about like the things that Reagan did, and I think about the things Clinton did, and I think about the things Obama did, where people were threatening to impeach Obama, and it's just,
but
real the things that are going on today. I hope we can all appreciate that. I hope I'm not crazy thinking that world is a little bit different.
Say 50 years ago, 100 years ago, there was still that thing that you had to present yourself as being a little bit above board to the public. There was still that expectation that you were still going to play by gentlemen's rules.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, David. That was a generation that grew up with D&D. Are you do any D&D? Because I do D&D.
Very little. I knew I had a lot of friends who were seriously into it, but I was reading comic books and science fiction, but very minimal. But I did have friends who were very into it. Yeah. Would you want to play D&D with me? I'm down.
Yes. You're going to be the best, man. I'm going to DM the shit out of you. You're going to have the best time, man. Oh, you're going to be like the smartest person at the table every time.
Let's do it.
Be great. Yeah.
Let's do it. 5 by 5. But let me.
Oh yeah, I'll let you finish.
I just wanted to say, thank you. I mean, that's very flattering. I mean, actually, a lot of people, say, I don't look like I'm just about to turn 49 at all. And no. I get that a lot. So thank you. I appreciate that. But
I thought you looked mature, but
it is true that I have friends who are just 5 years older than me, and they're just breaking apart. Sure, of course they are, but I just I eat right. I don't drink. I don't do any drugs. I don't smoke. I exercise, and I stay out of the sunlight. You know what I mean?
You're a vampire.
I eat right. I eat lots of vegetables, and I've done this for decades. I mean, and so people who don't do that, they eat garbage. They do no exercise. They turn 50 and they're falling apart, and they say, "Oh, the human body is badly designed." Well, if you have a Lamborghini and you don't change the oil and it breaks down, does that mean it was a badly designed car? No, you have minimal owner maintenance that you have to do. And if you don't, then you don't get to complain. I've got people who are 5 years older than me who are, they've got so many issues going on with them, and they're probably not going to last very long. But the people I'm talking about, they eat garbage, they eat junk, do no exercise. I've say this before. Honestly, yeah, I am in a couple of weeks, 49. I'll be turning 49 in a couple of weeks. And I honestly do not feel any different from when I was 17. I don't feel any differently. I don't feel any different. My mental acuity is exactly what it was then. I feel fine. But I think, I started working out when I was 20. I started, I was a vegetarian for a long time. I'm kind of sort of gone back now. I just think if you start breaking down early, first look at how you treated your machine. That's what I say.
You said your mental acuity hasn't changed.
Not at all.
Really?
Not in the slightest.
I find that from year to year, maybe not my intelligence, but like the way that I look at a problem and how fast I'm able to reason about it varies dramatically from year to year. And maybe some of that's just practice with certain things, but yeah, I'd say that's mental acuity. Yeah.
So L. Ron Hubbard doesn't show up, does he?
I don't believe so. Well, see, they don't do real life people. These are all fictional characters. So everybody is either a fictional character or who somebody had written in as a stand-in for the real life person.
I don't know. There's a rumor that at least Hubbard had met Crowley at some point.
Yeah, there's a lot of mythology about L. Ron Hubbard. So anyway, I just really thought this whole thing about the mind swap, the body swap, was just chilling. It's even more chilling in Providence. If anybody wants, I really recommend Providence. That's a really good book. It's not for everybody, but I really like it. Anyway, so we've got. So the idea is they are. The idea is. This is obviously Oliver Haddo in James's body, and his plan is he's going to switch bodies again now here in 1969 with Turner Purple, the Mick Jagger character. Okay, yeah, this is funny. Oh, here you go, Steve. That's one of the tripods from War of the Worlds.
Where's that?
They built a swing.
Oh yeah, there we are. Yeah. I already saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, they built a swing on it. Well, I mean, it's just been hanging around since the 1890s, So.
Yeah, I thought it was just. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot. That's part of this storyline, the invasion. So the
that happened in
Martian tripod's still there.
Yeah, that happened in an earlier book, the War of the Worlds invasion. They covered that pretty extensively. Okay. So let's just go through all this. Yeah. All right. So here's the idea that, well, does anybody want to talk about this? Because yeah, there is some psychology going on with Minna. Yeah. Everything Haddo touched has such black vibes about it. What if he's cursed us? Or vibes, Minna, darling, do you have to talk like that? Like what? I keep up with the times. That's all. Yeah, she's obviously trying. She's getting very, very paranoid that she's losing touch with her youth and just becoming this ancient fossil at this point. She's at least 150 here by this point. Yeah, when did Dracula take place? It was like the 1820s, wasn't it? That novel came out?
1890s.
Oh, really? Well, okay. I was thinking, yeah, like Frankenstein. It'd be like earlier, but all right. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, yeah. So doesn't ever freak you out being young when we're all ancient? Freak you out. Yeah. So, yeah, she's obviously getting very paranoid and just having this identity crisis of trying to trying to consolidate her place in the world. She feels out of place after all these many decades now that she's just been alive, and just, I mean, you never have to deal with this, because the most you could hope for would be to get to age 90 or 100 at the very most. I mean, very few people get past that. So it's never going to be a real life problem for anybody. But what would it be like to just, have the decades and centuries eventually pass by as you're still, looking and feeling like you're in your 20s? I mean, it's got to be kind of an alienating feeling in anybody. If you are an immortal, obviously this is complete fantasy, but still, don't you think that would be an interesting experience? You would feel like you're alienated from the world and society, and you don't feel fully connected with, the zeitgeist, the political and social situation.
Well, there's a secret to that. Just spend your time with other immortals. And you can be all out of whack together.
Yeah.
I knew a group of immortals in a former life.
Okay.
Sounding as mad as Michael Moorcock at this point. And yeah, that was my observation. I didn't believe it when I saw it, but there were 4 women.
Mm.
And from what they had said, they'd been around on Earth hadn't aged in 1,000 years. I don't know, they still seem to have kept up with things, but I'll probably describe it as this, that they were missing things. There were just phenomena in the updated world. It's like they just weren't seeing it. They were still very active in the world, but just not seeing what was happening in a way. They just didn't see how the trends in humanity had changed. They were still biased towards the trends in humanity of their own time. All 4 of them had visited Greece in the time of the Greek tragedians.
I could see that.
Or what you met?
I don't worry about it, Will. Will, don't worry about it.
We'll drop that one.
Don't worry about it, Will. Seriously, don't worry about it.
Don't go there.
Don't go there, girlfriend. No, for me, I do feel that. Earlier I was just talking about physical, but yeah, I feel a lot of disconnection. But a lot of that I come by it honestly when I say things like that about I don't really get a lot of what's going on in popular culture, and you say, well, yeah, you're about to be 49, so you're an old guy. Of course you wouldn't. No, you know what? That's not true at all. It's not true at all. I didn't like what was popular when I was in high school. I really didn't. I had no connection to what was going on at the time.
Yeah, that's not unusual.
In the earlier stuff,
I gotta echo that. Like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm 23. I'm young, but I've never felt fully part of at least this part of the world.
Yeah, and I look at what's going on today, honestly. Yeah, I mean, physically I'm what I am, but yeah, there's just a lot going on that I just don't understand. I just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably overwhelmed.
Matali is 20 years old, so she's fully with the modern era.
But I don't feel like I totally belong as well, I like philosophy, and most of the things that this is just stuff that I don't really talk about to a lot of people. So it's hard to relate sometimes.
Yeah.
But she would have been happier in the 19th century. With Mina in the 1890s, she could have tolerated that, I think.
Yeah, probably get along well with her.
Natalia, there are many times that I'll try to talk about things that are genuinely interesting with me with other people, and they don't listen. They refuse to have conversations about it. I mean, I'll try to talk about books I like, political issues, like not American political issues, but like general political issues. But like, what's your opinion on, you know, states' rights, or like you know, like independence, just you know, general things, and they don't get it. They don't talk about it with me.
Half of my friends don't study like Donald Trump. You know, they don't know a thing about him as well, which is surprising because they're about like my age, and I just thought that they should, you know, at least like be aware of this political issues. Yeah.
It's strange. I don't know. I've definitely been interested in the world, but I've never felt like I've been a part of popular culture. I'll say that.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a bit like if you believe the story of the temperaments, you know, you got the melancholy temperament, which might describe people who feel that they don't fit in. And the Greeks identified the temperaments, and they became popular amongst the mystical and occult philosophers in the 19th century. Rudolf Steiner made a big thing about them. So, you know, you got 4 temperaments: melancholic, phlegmatic, choleric, and sanguine. And sanguines are the opposite of the melancholics, and the sanguines are the ones who are, you know, socially flighty. So you never heard of that one?
No, I've never heard of those.
No, I imagine David's heard of them.
I know who Rudolf Steiner is. Steve.
No, I think Rudolf Steiner was making a heap of stuff up, but his followers fanatically believe every word. But yeah, he can be interesting at times.
It was the first more or less theory of emotion, with these.
Oh, right. Who was it? Galen might have been the Greek philosopher involved. Yes.
Natalia, how old are you?
20.
20.
Yeah, I turned 20 in like April. So yeah, 21 soon.
When I was 20 years old, I was
many moons ago, back in the times, and the dark light dawned out of the darkness. You're sounding like that right at the moment, you know.
I'm trying to. No, seriously, I've been to many strange places. When I was 20 years old, I had just found my way out of the desert and arrived in Vermont for college, and because my car broke down in the desert. It was tough getting. It took me 2 weeks to travel across the country without any money or a car.
Oh, wow.
And I made my.
So you were traveling. So you were like solo.
I was solo. I went across the country for weeks in my car, and it broke down in the middle of a desert. Didn't know what to do, and I didn't have any money.
How did you?
I had to sell some stuff to get a bus ticket. Which took a long time.
You couldn't hitchhike someone else's car.
And then I went up to Vermont, and I was figuring things out. I was in college in Vermont, and I was just making my life there, beginning to make my life, and like settling down into the way of things there. So that's what my life was 3 years ago when I was 20.
What about now? Do you feel like much has changed?
Completely different. Things are completely different now. My college shut down forever. It was a small liberal arts college, and I made my way back down to where my family is outside of Philadelphia. And I've been buckling down for the pandemic. I mean, my whole life is on a computer now. But if you asked me 2 years ago, I would have been somewhere in Wisconsin. I mean, I've really been across the country. I've been to Norway. I worked in Wisconsin, Philadelphia. I've been to California, not for like a day or two, but for like, you know, months at a time doing things. Just very little money, just very, very all over the place, you know.
cool. No, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. It's good to get the background.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of stories about all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I've got.
To be honest, I'm still
What do you need?
Yeah.
I'm just very quickly, when I was 20, I'm a research scientist. I figured out what I wanted to research. And if you talk to me when I was 20, I'm 46 now. I could tell you exactly who I'd be at 46, and I haven't changed at all. So there's pros and cons to either one. It's kind of nice to wander around a little bit. I'm a little jealous.
Too. I did research down at Villanova University. I was a research assistant there. Computational chemistry. Yeah, it was good.
For how long?
What?
For how long did you become a researcher?
3 months. 3 months. It was just for the duration of the semester. I took a semester off from my college and used it to work down at Villanova. I found out later that they didn't pay.
So you were looking for like a paid job, obviously. Yeah.
No, it was not a paid job. I was getting paid with experience. They did not pay. We actually used more money than we had. The professor there, Ryan. God, what was his name? Ryan Jorg. Ryan, and then some Norwegian sounding last name, but Ryan something. He spent more than $500,000 on a supercomputer cluster that he used for computational chemistry, and it was he didn't even have enough money to pay let alone himself. Definitely not me. Yeah, that was harsh. So then I got a job in construction, which was hard because my resume was all academic up until then.
I could imagine. I mean, honestly, I've never been in a job, like a professional job, or I think so far I just took a 3-month internship, and that alone was that was unpaid. It was just for experience.
Yeah.
Because
the amount of strange things I've done it contributes to my feeling of being apart from this world, because I've had many different positions. I was a volunteer in AmeriCorps for a year, and I was basically like a tutor / teacher coordinator. Wasn't making any money, but people gave me a lot of respect. They thought I was out of college. I was 18 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, but that's seriously. And then I was giving personality tests at a place in ATA, and people again thought I was some kind of out of college counselor. And then I just basically sold all my stuff and drove across the country, and people thought I was a hobo. And I went up to Vermont, and people thought I was.
I'm 60 years old, and I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. People judge you based on what you're doing at that time. They don't really look at who you are, what you're about.
Look, the gods, we are just the playthings of the gods.
Are we?
If you think that you're any more than that, you are fooling yourself. You're a toy mouse for the gods. They're just playing games with you.
I sometimes like to think that the world is just a thought that the universe had on a particularly bad day.
In the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people angry, and a lot of people have regarded it as a bad idea.
Is that Hitchhiker's?
You know, first, Sorry, Will. Sorry.
Isn't that Hitchhiker's Guide?
Right? There's a reference you got. There's a reference you got. All right. All right, Will.
What was that, Natalia?
Yeah, when I first, because I'm in Australia now and I'm on a student visa, right? So I've always wanted to be some sort of a cartoonist or anything to do with the arts, and just been really fascinated with this stuff. So my sole purpose when I come here, the only thing that's in my mind is that I thought that I'm gonna, like settle to become like an animator or some sort of a graphic artist. But then I realize, and when I look at people around me, and I think there's just so much room to explore. There's just the world is just like really, really big. I was pretty like innocent back then, so I just I thought like the world's gonna provide for me, and now that I've come to realize that it's just different.
It's a strange place.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. But like it's really admirable. Like you're 20 and you already had a lot of different positions. You've worked in different places, so yeah. I feel like I'm pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fired as well. It's not like I've done well everywhere I've been.
Yeah, I'm but I got it like an experience. So,
yeah, they're good. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have had them.
Hello, everybody. This is Ocean for the first time. Can I chime in? Hello, everybody.
Hi.
What's up, my man?
How are you? I've been enjoying listening to everybody so far for the last 30 minutes. And I joined a little bit late, but glad to be here.
That's okay.
What a great.
Yeah, well, if I can share for a few seconds about me. I'm a professional musician. I stay in Southern California for the last 31 years, and I'm 50 years. I just turned 50 years old. I tend to look a lot younger than 50, but I am 50, and ever since when I was 13 years old, I wanted to be the greatest guitarist in the world. And when I was 18, I decided to came here to study more music and guitar. And ever since when I was 13 years old, my goal has always been the same: to be like Vladimir Horowitz in the guitar world. And so when I was 13, 18, and today, my goal still hasn't changed, and who I am is exactly the same. So just wanted to, pour in my perspective. So thank you.
No worries.
Anyway, we're still missing some of the more exciting moments of the comic where she goes, Mina goes astral traveling and fights it out with Aleister Crowley's demon.
You know my policy, Stephen. If we can talk about the comic, that's optional. If we don't, that's fine too. You know my policy. If it's a good conversation, I don't mind. But if we want, you want to? Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Back to I obviously didn't come here to talk about the comic.
No, I mean, really, the set topic is just like a reason to get together. If the conversation
was probably the best part of the comic, actually. That was the high point of the.
Then I don't mind just a free form conversation. We've had meetings where we never talk about the comic. We just sit around and chat. We have.
Of course, I was reading the Wikipedia entry, which gave me a few pointers. So Aleister Crowley loses the body he has at the time and ends up possessing the body of Voldemort. They'll say the Voldemort character out of Harry Potter.
We were getting to that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go make some tea.
Yeah, sure thing. Sure. Okay. I just thought it was interesting. That what's happening to Mina psychologically, and given what's coming up, it's kind of a bit of what do you call it? Foreshadowing of what's about to happen to her. Anyway, yeah, okay. So here's the main. Oh, Norton. We get another visit with Norton.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
I like Norton. I like him. He's an interesting character. Ian Sinclair. Another time traveling character of Alan Moore's. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I think I kind of agree with you. The really most interesting thing is the end, final fight. Okay, so yeah, Mina's definitely going all in terms of like
Yeah, I like the sequence.
Joining in with the zeitgeist. What's going on?
I don't know who the fortune teller is meant to be.
That's the Julia. We saw her earlier in the book. That was James's wife.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let me see.
Well, I see you've got Winnie the Pooh
Oh,
there.
You know who Julia is?
Ah!
Oh, no, wait.
Sorry, that was funny.
Wait, what?
The Winnie the Pooh reference.
Yeah, there's a picture of Winnie the Pooh on the back wall with a giant penis sticking out.
Yeah.
I just noticed.
That.
I totally missed that.
Yeah, I missed that as well. I didn't notice.
Okay, well, I think it's Julia comes from an episode of The Avengers.
Oh, right, okay.
From the Avengers episode, The Warlock. So that's who Julia is.
Yeah, I don't recall the Avengers too well. I think I saw the new Avengers.
I think I've seen 2 episodes.
But sort of know the basic lineup.
Emma Peel and the other guy.
And the better known incarnation as Pussy Galore, wasn't it? Out of James Bond.
Yeah, she was a Bond girl. I've never seen a single James Bond movie, not once.
That's very strange, that is.
A lot of people think it is, yeah. I know, it's just not really my thing. I'm just totally not getting it here. I'm not even sure where we are. Okay, here we go. Now I lost it. There it is. The image of, that's not Winnie the Pooh, that's a bear. The bear with the erection comes from issue 28 of the underground magazine Oz, which was known as School Kids Oz, and which became the subject of a high-profile obscenity case in Britain in 1971. The trial of the Oz editors Richard Neville, Felix Dennis, and Jim Anderson for issue 28, School Kids Oz, was conducted at the Old Bailey under the auspices of Judge Michael Argyle. It was the longest trial under the 1959 Obscene Publications Act. Of particular significance is the now notorious Robert Crumb pastiche cartoon of Rupert Bear in an explicitly sexual...
Oh, right. Okay, Rupert Bear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember this. There'd been a trial about the Oz magazine.
I guess it was a very high profile, in the news at that time, 1971. Year I was born.
I have a bit of a tangent. I'm in another reading group where we read James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, and you just basically we go through a paragraph in a whole time. The one session is a paragraph, and basically you treat it as a collage. You capture all the references, and then you appreciate all the references in a collage, and that's kind of how you read the Wake. Or you just end up looking at a Rorschach blot and coming up with whatever you come up with, one or the other. But I'm starting to sort of see these as a collage of images of references.
Yeah.
What book is that?
But it doesn't have to be that way.
I've wanted to get into Joyce for the longest time. Maybe I will one of these days, but I haven't yet. What was the other one? The Odyssey.
No, it would be Ulysses.
Ulysses, that's the one.
You listen to Ulysses. You don't read it.
That's what I've heard.
Because it has this sing-song verse, and you need to hear the Scottish accent.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Scottish or Irish?
Irish. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, Irish. Yeah.
James Joyce.
And it's really hard. You can't read too many. You can do that with Ulysses, but you can't do that with Awake. If you end up reading the guidebook, then you're just reading the guidebook. You kind of have to experience it in a group, or you just get lost and confused, and then you drop it.
From everything I know about Ulysses, it's downright intimidating. I mean, isn't it like one of the longest things ever written? It's all in some kind of epic poem format, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's an overstory. It's a day in the life of a man and his wife, and other people. But it's a stream of consciousness. It's just another way of looking at a novel. It's not too different than if you just recorded your own conversation in a day and just listened to it. That's actually sort of some of what I do as a scientist. That's probably the best way to measure emotion in people, is just get 24-hour sound recordings from them. And it kind of sounds like Ulysses.
Have you ever read Pale Fire by Nabokov?
Yeah, we love Nabokov. I have some friends that are old enough to actually take a class by Nabokov.
Really? Yeah, back when he was at, what was it, Wesleyan, I think?
Yeah, and Cornell. But and a lot of times, we end up, whenever we, in our reading groups, whenever we pick a new novel, we often go to his lectures, and we look at what he had to say about certain novels.
He was a towering intellect. I mean, he was brilliant. Pale Fire by him, since you read it, it's a stream of consciousness. It's all written in verse. It's exactly 999 lines, and it's downright intimidating. I mean, it's not very long at all, but it's complicated. The notes, which I believe are technically part of Pale Fire, are just as long as the text itself, and it's just as fictional.
Yeah. Fun fact: it was his wife that was the genius.
Really?
That was the story for the people that would take the classes from him. He would give the lecture, but whenever he'd get a hard question, his wife answered it.
Huh. I believe it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm inclined to believe it because I'm tired of seeing so many men in literature and science. I remain unconvinced that it's just so happens to be men that publish the best things.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's sort of, related to that. Was sort of a history of publishing that sort of, I would say, right around the internet, that sort of changed. The genius guy in New York that lives alone and doesn't talk to anybody and has a typewriter and writes, that kind of ended, and it became more pluralistic.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I mean, it was never a very glamorous life. Bukowski wrote a lot about that life because he lived it and he hated it. He wrote, the reason that Bukowski's poems, by the way, are not very structured and like hard to read, and because he was writing them in the margins of newspapers because he couldn't afford paper. Yeah. This is a man whose life was marked by poverty. He had some of the most interesting things, though, to say about small rooms and typewriters.
Yeah. Which brings me to graphic novels. I think, the world's become more three-dimensional. You can't just have words on a page anymore. Yeah. That's kind of done. So the future is a graphic novel, and that's what brought me to the group. We read all these classic novels, and we say, what happened with the internet? People stopped writing these books. The smart, creative people are making graphic novels. So let's get into it. Let's learn how to read them.
Yeah, we don't live in any kind. We don't live in any kind of a literary culture anymore. You know, you write a novel, it comes out, nobody cares. Yeah, it's all audiovisual now. I mean,
yeah, my other great love of opera has sort of changed too. Now, when you go to the opera or the ballet, it's very similar. In the ballet, they used to have great ballet variations, and your job as the audience was to sort of lean forward and pay attention and watch the 32 fouettes and make sure they're done correctly. Now you're looking at a projected image, which is beautiful, but it's more of a collage. So you have to look for the collage as opposed to just look for the technical writing. Enough about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can bemoan the loss, and I think it is a loss, you know, like the loss of, you know, poetry of any kind or appreciation for good painting. You know, I mean, just that's not in the culture anymore. So
yeah, but I always say I'm not a Luddite. I refuse to be a Luddite. I will embrace the future.
Yeah, I was just about to say that actually. Yeah. I feel the same way about technology. Is that I think it's kind of passed me by. I'm still on a desktop. You know, I say this to people. You know what? Have you ever met anybody who does not own a mobile cell phone?
Me too. I couldn't live without it. You have no idea how many government and like basic services rely on you having a phone number. For the longest time,
I have a phone number.
I was using my college's fax machine number for a while.
Yeah,
that's how I got by it for a while. And then I couldn't do it. It was impossible for me not to have a phone. There are so many things I couldn't do.
Yeah,
when I went to go get a phone number, they asked me they asked me to fill out the sheet, and on there was you got to fill out your phone number to get it. I didn't even have.
No, I have a Google. I have a Google number, and that's what I use for texting and for that kind of thing. When you need, the Google number is fine. I've been doing that for 10 years. But I don't own an actual thing.
Oh yeah, I wish I didn't. I really did.
Yeah, no, my tech expertise kind of froze in 2004. I'm still on a desktop. I have a laptop, but I don't have a pad. I don't have one of those pods, whatever they are. I don't know. I think I got frozen in 2004, and I haven't advanced. And I don't really understand what's going on anymore.
Yeah, when you told me that comics can still be drawn by hand on paper, I was kind of blown away. I thought it was all on computers now.
Well, Kevin O'Neill is, from the old styles, but yeah, the newer people, they're doing computer art. But yeah, O'Neill is pretty. I mean, I think he must be in his 60s by now. But yeah, people do traditional, right, Natalia? People do traditional art.
Yeah, but I've moved to digital now though, because it's more convenient. I change back to traditional sometime, but yeah, it's just.
Yeah. Okay, so, she's going all in on trying to shed her fears of becoming this ancient elderly stick in the mud prude. She's just going all the way into it. And hey, 1969, swinging London, here's the time to do it, right? The time and place. And so she just goes all in. What are those? The Tatty, that might be worth paying attention to, because it's not going to do it for me. Really? Okay, yeah, here we go. That's what was happening. The Taddies are taducic acid diethylamide. In H. Rider Haggard's The Ivory Child, 1916, The Ancient Allen, 1920, and Allen and the Ice Gods, 1927, Taduki leaves appear. In Allen and the Ice Gods, the Taduki leaves, when smoked, allow Quatermain and Lady Ragnall to experience past lives. Hey, there you go, Steven.
Okay, cool. I've been missing out, have I?
Yeah. So tadukic acid diethylamide would be a semi-synthetic version of it, akin to lysergic acid diethylamide, aka LSD. So that's what the tatties are, right there. Yeah. She doesn't take it, but anyway.
She takes it later.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I agree with you. The most interesting thing is the end battle. So we should try to get to that. I just like that.
Well, you can look at the tarot cards. Looked a bit interesting.
There's probably some reference to the tarot deck. Let me just check really quickly. Yeah.
You got the Death Tower, a card with a number of swords on it.
Well, it's the Celtic cross spread, the 10 of coins, wealth, symbolizing gain for near future, environment, 7 of words, ruin, symbolizing a rash and impulsive decision, quite possibly ending in failure. And there we got the presentiment of what's about to happen, don't we? Hopes and fears, the tower, symbolizing downfall and the end of good fortune. Again, the outcome, death, symbolizing great change. So indeed, there's a lot of resonance with the story so far and what's about to come with the reading. Yeah, well, that's great, Steve. I'm glad you caught that. That is worth noting. Does anybody have a favorite tarot card? Mine
yeah, probably passed it by now. It's getting a little bit old hat for me, I think.
My favorite tarot card is the Tower.
Okay, actually, yeah, I think you got me there. I think I like the one where the dogs are barking at the moon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So just after the Tower somewhere, isn't it? In the Major Arcana.
Yeah, I forgot what that one is, but yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
It's number 17. I think the devil's number 16, is it? Or was it 15?
I'm not a tarot expert, but yeah. Oh, and there we got the Tree of Life, Kabbalistic Tree of Life over there. I'm pretty sure that's not a tarot card. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think it is. Okay. Yeah, a lot of just people standing around talking. And yeah, there's a reference to all of this. We if we wanted to. Okay, let's get to the ending.
I'm not sure who the weirdo character, the strange head-on's supposed to be.
So, just as a question, all of these like highly sexual scenes, is that like a marketing technique, or what's that about? Because there's a lot of it. Like once, twice is like cool in the right context, right? But this is
that's what I observed as well.
Quite a lot.
Maybe it's marketing. Yeah.
It represents the decadence and decline of society, according to Friedrich Nietzsche. This is once we threw away the Bible, this is where we were headed: decadence and nihilism.
I mean, you guys would know more about this than I do, but as I understand it, sometimes when authors write or like produce edgy work, they're doing it to like comment on the people that read their things. So sometimes, for example, Quentin Tarantino does that, I think. You know, he's saying like, all this violence and gore, this is the world that you made. I'm just presenting it to you in a spoon that you'll eat. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, what is this? Is this marketing, or is this like a point? Is the author trying to make a point here?
It ain't for kids. It ain't kids.
Definitely not.
Yeah, I suppose from my angle, probably the more attractive thing would be romance would be attractive, but not necessarily porn, I suppose you could call it in a sense. But, you know, a romantic theme dramatically would probably suck me in.
I'm having a lot of problems trying to find. Okay. 41, 42, 43, 44. Finally. That took long. Okay, that's actually that's okay, hold on. That is a girl, that is Lorraine, the daughter of the housekeeper in the movie Performance. When we first
the tarot reader.
No, this little girl.
Oh, right, okay.
Holding the tray with the mustache. This is actually a little girl with the mustache. She is a character from the movie Performance. And in the movie, she is wearing the false mustache. And she talks the way she talks in the movie, calling everybody dad and old rubber lips and stuff like that. So that's one of the characters in the movie Performance. Lorraine, a little girl. Oh wait, we're not sharing. All right, we're not sharing, are we? So I'm sorry. I thought we were looking at it. Going back and forth, back and forth. Here we go. This girl, the girl holding the tray. Well, if that happens, somebody tell me, Dave, you're not sharing. The girl here with the tray and the false mustache.
Yeah, I think if this is, I said this last time, you know, it's the references are always a lot different than what I'm used to in certain kind of literature. Usually what I end up reading, if there's a dwarf, it means something bad is going to happen. It's a bad omen. And everyone's life is ready to be destroyed.
So to answer your question, Will, I mean, I don't think I'd be so cynical as to say it's marketing, but you know, I mean, it's not a kid's book. It's not intended as an all ages book. I don't know. It's honestly, you know, I mean, I think really it's just intended as an adult story. I don't think there's a specific point to it other than just let's portray the 1960s, at least as it is in this continuum. And the popular stereotype of the 1960s is free love and you know, that kind of sexual liberation and openness and philosophy and yeah, that was the zeitgeist at the time, and I think that
one of its references is the movie Wild in the Streets, I think made in 1967, 68.
I wonder if it has anything to do with
that's actually the scenario going on in America at the time of this comic.
Yeah,
it's America's ruled by a hippie,
Max Foster. Yeah.
Yes, he wants to put everybody over 30 in concentration camps where they'll be shut up on drugs all day because
That's exactly right.
He hated anybody over 30.
That's exactly, well, right there. What do you mean? The current president of the United States is Max Foster. In 1969, in this universe, President Max Foster is indeed president of America, USA, in this world. Yes.
I wonder if all the sex has to do with their characters. Like, is Mina like looking for identity by being very intimate with other people?
That's a good perspective.
Okay.
Maybe.
On that, I think that's another one of the points Moore is trying to give towards immortality, because these people are in it for a long haul. Orlando at this point is 3,000 years old, and I mean, come on. You know, and if you think you wouldn't, yeah, you don't. You do everything at some point or another. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Okay, so yeah, okay. So they go to the park. The idea is they're gonna make their you know, this is where Hattow's gonna make his move. He's gonna make conduct the ritual that's gonna get him into Turner Purple's body, and they're here to stop him. And she takes the tatty, and she starts having the trip that she has. Yeah, and okay, here we go. And now this is just Kevin O'Neill just doing what he does. Now this at long last, we have so many pages of just people standing around talking. Let's give some stuff for Kevin O'Neill to just go.
Okay, what's it with this sculpture that's sitting in the middle?
That's Mr. Hyde. That's Mr. Hyde.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, she was rubbing the plate. Okay.
From that's Edward Hyde. Yeah, it says right there. Henry.
So you got a half-naked woman who's dressed like Alice in Wonderland.
That's Mr. Hyde he's from an earlier book which we didn't read together collectively. I would encourage everybody to go back and read if you'd like.
Well, you can just watch the Spencer Tracy film. Mm-hmm. That's the best one, I think. Spencer Tracy playing Dr. Jekyll and Hyde.
And every one of these is all somebody. Let me see if we can do that. There we go. Every one of these is somebody. Every one of them, as I say, we'll just endlessly do it if we wanted to. I'll just point one out. There's one of the, I think they're called the Blue Meanies in the Yellow Submarine. There's a Dalek, right there.
Yay!
There's a Dalek.
Oh, I didn't notice a Dalek.
Right there. See that?
You got Captain Nemo there.
There's Captain Nemo. Yeah. Everybody is somebody in this.
Oh yeah. I see the Dalek now.
Right there.
And you've got Humpty Dumpty out of Alice in Wonderland. Is it Alice in Wonderland and Humpty Dumpty?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. That's the Invisible Man right there. The other guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, depends on if you think this is fun to go over the references. And it might be. Okay, so.
Oh, who was the pop singer that used to do the odd artwork? Queen, Freddie Mercury.
Was he an artist? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He did all all these crazy illustrations. That's actually where he started off as training to be a commercial artist.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. You look on the some of his their albums, and you see yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I really do think it's just the intention is to portray the swinging London era of late 1960s. I really think that's the point, Will. And as well, to make a comment on the idea of immortals, just out of sheer boredom, will eventually become very experimental. I mean, you would have to. I mean, how could you avoid it? And here we go. Yeah, this is okay. Here we go. My first name's Tom. My middle name's a Marvel, and my last name's a conundrum. Right? Yeah, Tom Marvolo Riddle. Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. There he is. I teach occult studies at a school up north. That would be Hogwarts. I hope you catch that one, Will.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've never read the books. I've never seen the movies. So, but I mean, how can you avoid Harry Potter? I mean, how can you avoid it? I mean,
I know of the guy.
It's in the culture. It's like Superman. You can't avoid it. It's like Mickey Mouse. So anyway,
Prospero. I mean, I'm getting the Shakespeare references. Those are interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That is the actual Prospero from Shakespeare, The Tempest. Okay, so I think there's explanations for the specific thing that Turner Purple, the Mick Jagger character, is singing. Yeah, when Kevin O'Neill lets himself go and just indulges in his wildest, caricatures and fantasies and drawing style, I just dig it. I do.
This is a drug scene. Did they take drugs?
Yeah, we just saw Minna take the teddy. Yeah, this is horrible. If you haven't read the story, this is a horrible way to go through the comic because it's just we're going so fast. But I mean, I think it's well plotted. It's well written. I mean, for goodness sake, it's Alan Moore. I mean, how could it not be? Okay, yeah. I mean, goodness me, look at just.
So he's reading some romantic era poetry, isn't he? Which turns the crowd off completely.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that. I mean, my goodness me. Now Kevin O'Neill has the distinction of being the only comics artist to have been banned by the American Comics Code Authority.
All right.
Not for the content, but for his art style itself. He was banned for his art style itself.
Right. So his art style was the work of the devil.
Nothing for the content. Not the content, the style. The only one comics artist who was ever banned by the American Comics Code Authority.
Was he making things that people couldn't fit on a page and like fucking with people or what?
It was the style.
Making colors that people couldn't print or they just didn't like the style?
The style.
Why would they ban him for this? I don't get it.
That is interesting.
Just the way he draws.
There's got to be more to that.
Not
story.
What he was drawing. Like no, it wasn't. It wasn't what he was drawing. It was the way he drew it.
Provocative, maybe. Or vulgar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like
I mean, at that time, the Comics Code Authority was on its last legs. I think it wasn't much long for this world anyway. So it's not. But anyway, but I've always dug Kevin O'Neill's stuff. I do. And yeah, I mean, this is just wonderful stuff. I mean, yeah, you could just spend a whole lot of time just staring at this sequence here. Okay, yeah. The specific song and poem that Turner Purple is reciting is actually a reference to something if we wanted to get into it. But as I say, if we spend the time for every little thing, it's just going to be endless. But okay, so the way this happens is Haddo now in astral form and Minna in astral form are doing battle with one another. he is trying to conduct the ritual to transfer himself into Turner Purple's body. Now, Jack Carter, the Michael Caine character, blows away his physical body. Now, without the physical body, of course, his astral self has to quickly get the ritual done. But it's not. Minna stops him at the last moment. He decides to make an attempt at Minna's body. And
I like his commentary. I'll have you with goats in no time at all. Yeah, it's the ultimate insult is I'm going to debauch your body.
Yeah, I mean, this is, depending on your taste, depending on your sensibility, you might dig this or not, I guess. It doesn't bother me at all, but I can see why other people would bother. But she was anticipating it. She planned ahead, and she is wearing Prospero's charm, talisman.
I'm surprised that they took issue with his artwork. Like, you can say it's not for all.
Yeah.
But it was like they were saying, well, this is not for anybody.
This is not appropriate for us to approve for all ages. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you mean they just put an R rating on it?
Yeah, it did absolutely. That band did absolutely nothing. No, everybody ignored it. That's what I mean. By that point in the time, it was like 1987, I think it was. And the Comics Code Authority had absolutely no authority, had absolutely no teeth whatsoever. Basically, everybody ignored it. It's not like he stopped getting jobs. It's not like people stopped hiring him because everybody just ignored it, and so it didn't do anything. Nobody cared about the Comics Code Authority by that point. Yeah, and it wasn't around for very much longer after that, and this is actually our first time we see Dracula. If you actually read the novel, Bram Stoker's Dracula, it describes him that he has a mustache.
Oh, right. I missed that. I have read it. But
the description in the novel is that Dracula has a mustache. Yeah, it says that in the book. That nobody remembers that.
It was, I'd say, a good book. Probably didn't absolutely drag me in, but it was okay.
So, in the choice he makes, what do you know? Oliver Haddo inserts himself into Voldemort's body. So now he is in Voldemort. How about that? Minna gets carted off to the insane asylum. And the denouement, the epilogue here, 8 years later, 1977. And things have not gone well for our remaining pair of the League. The League is down to a league of 2 at this point. Now it's a league of none. And that's the end of book 2. And here we have the continuing adventure on the moon. And if you wanted to go through that one, there's some bits and pieces that connect with the story in that adventure. So that's the end of book 2.
She ends up as a punk rocker. So what went wrong with her?
With who?
Mina. She ends up as a punk rocker.
No, she disappeared.
No,
she disappeared.
Oh, she disappeared. So that wasn't. Yeah. She wasn't the punk rocker.
No, that was somebody else.
That's not her.
So that's book 2, 1969. So next week, 2009, unless we want to do something else, is everybody?
Yeah, I'm keen.
Yes. No. Yes.
Yep.
I'm okay with it. Yeah. Okay. We're doing it then. So 2009 for next week, the conclusion, the the fascinating conclusion. Let's see what happens with Oliver Haddo and his attempt to create his Moonchild. So we'll get the exciting conclusion next week. So what do you think, Will? Yay or nay?
Absolutely, yay. This
it's a lot better if you read it on your own before you come here.
Yeah. Just send me the files, please.
Well, I'll send you all 3 of them because
Okay.
for next week. You really should read all of it, but anyway.
Oh.
You can check out the album artwork of on one of the Queen albums, and you might get what I mean about his
Freddie Mercury.
His unusual style of comic work. It's probably not the greatest thing ever, but interesting.
Yeah, I liked Queen. I didn't get so totally into him, but I liked him at the time.
Unfortunately, it's just showing bits of the album cover, but not in the greatest detail.
But yeah, I mean, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody is just one of the all-time classics, and of course it is. And yeah.
Actually, It's a Kind of Magic was used as the soundtrack for the movie Highlander.
That's right. Yeah. Well, no, they did all of the music. They did all the music in that movie. They did all the music in Highlander. All of it. Yeah, I mean, the whole movie had lots of Queen songs in it, and I think they were all originals. I think.
Anyway, Mina has probably not really. So, what did she do to stop Aleister Crowley? Aleister Crowley was going to possess the body of the Mick Jagger lookalike, was he? That was the ambition, but somehow she frustrated that.
Yeah, she managed to prevent him from doing it at the very last moment because, he lost his tether to his physical body because Jack Carter killed the physical body in the real material world. So without that, his astral form was just about to dissipate into
his astral form, oddly enough, is a complete degenerate.
Yeah, and so
whereas Mina has a obviously very beautiful astral form reflecting her spiritual nature.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So the ritual itself was ruined. It couldn't happen. So he decides to go into Mina. She anticipated that. She planned ahead and was wearing Prospero's talisman to prevent that. And so he had no choice. He chose to go into Voldemort. So now he's in the body of Voldemort. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next installment.
Yes.
2009 will be the next one, and I've already started reading that. And the reason I chose this was because, as much as an Alan Moore fan as I am, I've never read this before, so I wanted to read it, and then this is the opportunity to do so. And I'm liking it so far. I guess we'll see the exciting conclusion. And then when we're done with that, Stephen, if you want to go with the Johnny Nemo, Captain Nemo adventures, we can do those. I'm happy to do them. I haven't read those either, and I'd love to read those too. Sure, absolutely. You're smiling, Jeff.
That sounds good.
Yeah, you'd like that. That's fine.
So the next comic's called 2009, is it?
Yeah, we went from 1910 to 1969, and now 2009 for next week. That's 100 years, century. That's what it's called, century.
Yeah, I just found the cover of Oz here. That's quite amusing as well.
The cover of what?
Articles in the newspaper. Farmer's daughter rapes hog. Exclusive interview.
I like... my drunk cat held me hostage, and now he's my wife.
Yeah, people. Back in those days, people just didn't really care so much. But I'm starting to wonder. These days, they're probably more likely to take offence.
To take what?
They're more likely to take offence these days than back then, I think.
We've become more litigious.
Sorry, litigious or litigious?
Litigious.
Litigious, yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Yeah, litigious. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. Like, you're just people, companies and publishers and television networks. Yeah, they just don't want to get sued, basically. But,
so anyway, I'm looking for a comic called Donald Trump Conquers the World.
Sure.
Which isn't a real title. That's just the theme I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
I just think it's fascinating. The guy has been demonized to the nth degree. His whole persona is odd. It's all a bit different. So,
I did look for. Don't. Trust me, don't.
Okay.
Just don't. Yeah, when Steven's in the room, you just. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what? It's not going to get anywhere interesting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no,
it's not going to go anywhere interesting.
I trust you, David. I trust you.
But I did try to find some British empire goes into the modern day things.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's the thing.
I found a couple of things, but they're like really small. There's like the tiny little things here and there. I don't know if there's like a full. I mean, there must be a full novel or somewhere, but like there's an episode of Futurama where they go to different realities, and one of the realities they go to is where the British Empire lasted thousands of years.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff, you remember that?
I do, yes.
Yeah. And they all had these horribly bad Cockney accents.
Was this the one where they're like traveling through time? What was it? The professor made something and then Bender, was it? Was this season 7? Was this 7-1 or was it something else?
Well, maybe I can find it. Here's what I found, everybody. Here's what I found. There's a couple of comics references here. No, let's do it that way.
There's one called All the President's
There's a couple of
Heads.
comic stuff. There's a Fairly Odd Parents episode. Futurama episode, All the President's Heads. After Fry accidentally changes history by taking one of the lanterns that was meant to signal Paul Revere, New York is full of London Underground signs and red double-decker hover buses. Symbols of Western Britannia include the Tyranny Bell and Duncan crumpets, and everyone wears random period outfits from the Elizabethan to the Victorian age and speak with really bad Cockney accents. Even Hermes, who's from a Commonwealth country. There's an episode of Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, and a Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot episode. I think that's about it.
These people discussing British Empire survivals, are they?
Yeah, and there's a couple of things from comics. There's got to be a novel somewhere that somebody wrote about that.
I mean, that'd be quite a drama, to keep up the civilization as it really was, with the fall of the British Empire. That was really the end of civilization as we know it. Did you ever hear Oscar Wilde's comments about America? You'll love it.
Please.
Well, he said that most cultures go through three phases. They start off barbarism, they reach civilization, and then decadence. Well, America is the first culture that's gone straight from barbarism to decadence, missing the civilized stage.
Yeah. When he was visiting America, he visited Texas, and in a Texas barroom saloon, there was a sign that said, "Please don't shoot our piano player. He's the only one we've got." And Oscar Wilde said, "That's the only time I've ever seen capital punishment levied as a punishment for bad art."
Right. Oh, okay. Well, it's of course the era of the American West. That was the time when back in the eastern United States, they were doing stage shows with Western themes. Whereas most Americans were Easterners.
We saw that in From Hell. Oh, wait, no one here.
You know what? Speaking of comic books, do you know of any good
Niagara Falls and said entirely too much water. Niagara Falls, entirely too much water. Okay, go ahead. Well, sorry about that.
Do you know of any good sci-fi graphic novels that we could read?
Like what specifically?
I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, I read
Star Wars. I don't call that science fiction, though. I don't call Star Wars science fiction.
No, really?
That's not science fiction. Star Wars is fantasy.
Okay, well, okay, I could get behind that. But
Star Trek is science fiction.
I read Orson Scott Card's trilogy from Ender's Game all the way up
Ender's
to
Game.
What?
I read the first book. I didn't continue.
Oh, the later books are so much better. So much better. They're amazing. I forget the title though. But
I don't know. I just thought the book was finished. The story was finished. I just didn't feel much need to continue.
Oh, they're different stories. They have completely different characters separated through time. There's like the death of the civilization, and then Ender grows up a little bit, and he realizes that everything he did was wrong, and genocide is never applicable, and he lives with this massive guilt, and he has to try to form a new colony for them in secret. And again, he's separated by massive periods of time that in space travel, it just like
Card has written a few comics, actually. A few things.
Yeah, but like that kind of atmosphere, where it's like.
You mean just science fiction comic books in general?
Oh, like good ones, like.
Well, there's a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones.
Like good social critiques, like that's a good social critique, It's like you're dealing with heavy consequences and serious mistakes. It's like the weight of the world. Like that kind of science fiction where you can really explore those concepts, as opposed to say regular fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the thing I used to like when I was a kid was Edgar Rice Burroughs' Venus series. Oddly enough, I've never read his Martian series, but I read the entire Venus series for some strange reason.
Avernus. That's a thing in D&D. It's one of the hells.
Edgar Rice Burroughs, in which...
Wait. I missed something. Edgar Rice Burroughs is a thing in D&D?
No. Avernus. No.
Avernon. I don't know what that is.
Yes. Avernus. It's one of the hells.
I used to like the artwork on the Venus series, so it was always, the hero was chasing after some Venetian princess. So, they always had her in semi-nude sort of fashionable appearances on the front of the covers. I think that's what got me going when I got into them. I think I was about, 16 or 17 or something like that.
I grew up.
That you like?
I grew up reading science fiction, Heinlein.
Well, there's Edgar Rice Burroughs science fiction. I had no idea. I thought he was fantasy. I did like the movie they did of John Carter of Mars, though, but I don't know about the great leaps he was doing. You didn't see the movie?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, man, you've missed out. It's a silly movie, but the the appearance of it's just really far out. The way they do they've done it like this is how they would have done it back then. The style of it and all that. And I mean, I just love the Martian princess. She had a blue skin.
Deja Thoris.
Yeah, and probably the closest thing to it was the 1980 Flash Gordon. But you have seen that, have you?
Oh, when I was a really, really little kid. It was on cable all the time.
19 or 20 when it came.
That was Queen. That was Queen, wasn't it? That was Queen.
Yeah.
Flash. Right?
Oh yeah, I'm just amazed that you haven't seen the John Carter movie, John Carter of Mars.
It's really tough for me to catch a movie these days. I got so much on my hard drive that I want to catch, and I want to get to, and I have like a lot of TV shows I try to keep up with. That's hard.
Still watching Blackadder.
Yeah, that's the other one. I want to get back to finishing that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to.
So yeah, well, what are some good science fiction graphic novels?
Yeah, so what I was saying, I grew up reading science fiction. Robert Heinlein. I mean, sure, I could find good ones. It seems to me, there's a lot of good, the 50 best graphic novels, science fiction listicles out on the web. It occurs to me that I maybe haven't read a lot. I mean, I can tell you what I've read. I don't know if they're the best, but I mean, I would point to Alan Moore. Alan Moore is just the fact is that he's a phenomenal writer. No matter what he writes, he's just a phenomenal writer. But I think the best he does is science fiction, to be honest with you. I think probably the most science fiction he's ever gotten was a book called Halo Jones, which is really good. It's really good science fiction. I mean, really, really good. But after that, like people point to stuff like, stuff I haven't read, stuff like there's a lot of manga. There's a lot of manga science fiction. There's a lot of European science fiction. I don't know any of it, like Mobius and stuff like that. And I'm very, very poor in my knowledge of all that stuff. And I regret that. I think I should know a lot more than I do about that. But like Grant Morrison, people like that, has done some pretty good, cool science fiction.
Biblical science fiction.
Yeah, when just a little while ago I tried to Transmetropolitan. Yeah, stuff. Yeah, Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis has done some good stuff.
Have you ever read anything by? Oh, because you said Warren, and I just blanked on the guy's name. He did Aliens. Or Alien. He did Alien. He wrote the thing before it was.
Who wrote the original Alien? Yeah.
You mean the script? The script for the movie? Maybe it was the director.
It says Dan O'Bannon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is a guy who wrote "I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream," which is one of my.
Harlan Ellison.
Harlan Ellison, yes.
Harlan Ellison had nothing to do with Alien.
Could have sworn he did.
Harlan Ellison had nothing to do with Alien. The Ridley Scott movie, Sigourney Weaver. Is that what you're talking about?
It was a book or a short story that he
No, Dan O'Bannon wrote the story that Alien was based on. Harlan Ellison had nothing to do with Alien.
Really? Whoops.
There's a similar theme in a sense that Alien was a film that ripped off other movies, and the whole thing with Ellison was that Terminator did, in a sense, rip off The Outer Limits, which two stories which Ellison.
Yeah, that's right. He sued and he got the credit, and the Terminator.
Must have been that one.
The Outer Limits episode that he wrote.
Yeah. One was The Soldier, which I always remember very, very well from when I was a little kid.
I never saw it.
It's very, very simple. It's great, fantastic. It's not all that long. It's just an Outer Limits episode, but very powerful. That featured that guy who was Barbara Eden's husband. It was one of the Klingons out of Star Trek, as I remember. Can't remember his name. And that was also another show was, trying to remember it now. Demon with a Glass Hand, which he claimed took elements. The Terminator took elements from that story, which is another absolutely if I was going to say science fiction short episodes, it's up there on your favourites list.
Ellison had his own comic, and he's done enough. He actually did a lot of comics over his life. Maybe not a lot, but a number, a fair number.
Yeah, I saw him at when he was doing the book signing in about 35 years ago.
Yeah, I went to a lot of.
He cracked the shits with me. I was the one person in the room that he cracked the shits with. I've just got a winning personality.
Oh, he got really angry at me on his website. He had a message board on his website, and he got very angry at me. I was posting there at one point. No, actually, I wasn't posting there. I posted up. What I did was I posted an appearance that he did on the Tom Snyder Show, and during that appearance, he read a short story on the air, and that was included in the clip that I uploaded to YouTube. So Ellison says, remove that. And I didn't, and he got really angry at me. And because of that, I did. But there's a follow-up to that. A few years later, I uploaded it again. And he didn't say anything at that time. And in fact, when he started his own YouTube channel, he linked to that upload. So okay.
So you're a YouTuber too.
Smile, Will. You're on YouTube now.
Really?
You're on YouTube right now.
What? No, really? Oh,
you on my channel?
I'm not prepared for that. I would have. Oh, I don't have good lighting in here. I look like
nobody is watching my.
Look, the worst thing they can do to you is execute you.
That's pretty.
Actually, that's not the worst. The worst they could do is torture you, then execute you. But if they just execute me, I can live with that, because at the last moment, I'll say, God praise Donald Trump as they shoot me, so.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with you with that. Totally.
The first time I did this graphic novel group, I did the Zoom recording. And when you do the Zoom recording, there's a little red light up at the top that says recording. And some of the people who were here who have never come back. Well, one guy said, why are you recording? And I said, well, I just think this is, I like to have a record and see if anything does happen that's significant and useful and interesting. We have a record of it, and it could potentially be a benefit in the future to other people. And it just started about a 5-minute conversation about it all, and a very heated conversation. And so I don't use the Zoom recording anymore, but I still stream to YouTube and Facebook and Twitch.
Okay.
You're on all three right now.
Yeah. I'm glad people say I'm slightly handsome. because I've got nothing else going for me on YouTube, I can see. So
you said you're handsome?
It's other people say that. I've never quite picked up on it myself.
Yeah, I don't mind being on YouTube or Twitch or anything. It's fine.
Yeah, so I kind of do keep it on the down low, as the kids say today.
I'm happy that you think that I'm worthy of being broadcast. Even
nobody's watching these. They're like 5 hits, 5 views on all of them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You want to look at the John Carter on Mars trailer? It's worth it.
If we have to.
You have to.
Hold on, let me do this.
Believed that something new can come into this world.
Yeah, I remember. That was the guy who directed Finding Nemo, right?
What's his name? Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, the guy, it's John Stanton. I think is his name. John Stanton. He directed Finding Nemo and the sequel, Finding Dory. And this, I believe this was his first live action, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I haven't actually followed up any of the.
Yeah, he's a Pixar animation director.
Oh, okay, right. Well, yeah, it was Disney. So yeah, I imagine that was. I just loved the Martian princess in that. She was brilliant. She was just the sort of thing I could really go for.
Well, I did that wrong, didn't I? That's better. Oh, I got it. Now I got to do this.
Let them be crushed.
Can you turn it up?
I think it's as high as it will go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Oh, I think yeah, okay. I see
what happened to this place?
A new power threatens to destroy our city.
That don't look like a fair fight. You are ugly, but you are beautiful. You will fight for us! Get on. We did not cause this, but this very night, we will end it! I was too late once. I won't be again.
And not enough of the Martian princess in that. She was just totally hot. Yeah, the great stuff. Their spaceships, or their airships, or whatever they were just totally crazy. They're just defying the laws of physics. I think they weren't bothering too much with them. I was trying to remember. There was this, one of these comics I read when I was a kid. It was fairly simple. It was a morality test. You had this little dwarfish sort of a wizard character, and he had a very beautiful daughter, blonde haired or whatever it was, and very pretty. And she was a sorceress, and she had magic powers. And he was just going around, he was trying to find her a husband, but the husband had to pass a test because he had to show that he was moral enough to have this wife that had these tremendous powers. And they run into this knight, and the dwarf says to the knight, well, I've got all this gold in the wagon and I want you to transport it to another place. And he lifts it up and shows him all this gold bars. So the knight says, yes, I'll do that. So he's riding along and he's taken the cart of gold along, and he runs into some guys playing cards, and he ends up getting carried away with the cards and betting all the gold in the wagon. And then when they go to check whether the gold's in the wagon, there's just sands blowing around, and he has to kill the two guys he was playing cards with. So he goes riding back to the dwarf. What's going on here? Where's the gold? And it lifts up the cover, and then the enchantress rises up, you know, blowing him away with lightning bolts. And then at the end, she's going, oh, to her father, will I ever find a husband? That's just so simple and so powerful. It really grabbed me as a kid, but I don't know the name of the comic. Just one of those things you got in a comic that was sort of like, had weird tales and stuff like that in it.
If you describe that, somebody out there is probably going to find it for you. Post on Reddit or 4chan or something.
You use 4chan? I don't know.
Occasionally there's something, there's a reason to post on 4chan, depending on what you're trying to find.
I don't know. I've heard so many bad things about that. I've never even touched it.
Well, you're right. It's a terrible, horrible place. It's horrible. You're right. It's absolutely horrible. But if you know how to use it, you can get some use out of it. It is horrible. It is horrible. It's just horrible. It makes you despair for the human race, and justifiable, I think.
All right. What do they get into in 4chan? I'll have to look it up now.
I wouldn't do that.
It's Stephen. He's going to, and it doesn't matter. Again, it's Stephen. It doesn't matter. It's Stephen.
Well,
it's not like Stephen can be corrupted. It's not like there's anything to protect here with Stephen.
Stephen. That's good. But
I wouldn't describe myself as a person that's being corrupted.
But we would. So you do movie nights too, David?
Oh, well, there's movie nights. I believe the Portland group does a movie night Saturday, but I think they stopped for a little while. I think they're going to start that up again. Just recently, just like last week, just last week, they did Mulholland Drive on Tuesday. Were you there, Jeff, for that one? Or you saw it?
I just have a great love for the movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here's the art houses. I got to see it before COVID.
No, I think that was Gene. I think that was in the Seattle group. There's some movie discussion groups going on. I think Perfect Blue is on for Tuesday. That's the Edmonton group, I believe. That's second Tuesday, and I think I've been to that one now 3 times. We did The Conversation last month, Francis Ford Coppola. We did Princess Mononoke the month before, and so there's a couple of movie groups. Yeah, sure.
You ever seen The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, Her Lover?
I think I have that downloaded, and it's been on my hard drive, just waiting for me to watch.
You've got to see it. You would. I have
a full hard drive of stuff that I downloaded and just haven't gotten to.
Oh, well. Let that one skip the line for me.
All right, I'll make a note of it. Yeah, okay. We can do our own movie group. You want to? I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
Yeah, well, I have this Philadelphia Society of Geeks group, and it's got over 1,000 members, but I don't know what events to make for them. So if you want to put the movie night up, I can make you an organizer. I don't care. Yeah, go for it. In fact, better you than me, because I don't know what those people want. And
what group?
Philadelphia Society of Geeks.
Oh, so like, yeah, comics and science fiction.
Yeah, that stuff.
Genre stuff.
It's I don't. Yeah, but I mean, if
well,
you
then
want,
post what I've got here. Get a bunch of people. Post this group, and let's do a movie group. Sure.
Yeah, I'd love that.
So when every Saturday night or what?
Hopefully. Actually, I'm a little bit busy on Saturdays, but I can make time for this.
Oh wait, if you guys in America is like Saturday, that means it's Sunday here. I just realized time difference. Yeah.
We've already hit Saturday.
Yeah, we've hit Saturday like 3 p.m. now.
Yeah, but David, if you want to be an organizer for that group, I don't really. What happened was the last organizer didn't want to do it anymore.
That happens
for personal reasons, and he sent out some stuff like, "Hey, who wants to do this?" And I was like, "Well, and I was just like, well, if nobody else wants to do it, I'll do it," and then it just kind of fell on me. So I'm not heavily invested in it. I just want to make sure it's alive. That's all.
Gotcha. Yeah, right on. I'll put up this one. That's geek. So let's do a movie. Yeah. And sure, absolutely.
Okay, corruption. What is corruption? What is corruption compared to evil? Is corruption worse than evil? I was thinking of Elric. So was Elric just evil, or was he corrupt? That was the thing Stormbringer said.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000 times more evil than thou.
And see what they say. And then you'll know what evil is.
The only thing I know, I never read Elric. The only thing I know about Elric is the parody in Cerebus. Elrod.
I've got a copy of this book, which was translated by Christopher Tolkien, and I just picked it up for absolutely no reason. It wasn't cheap. It's about $30 back in the 1980s. It's a Norse saga, and I found out years later that this was the Bible that Tolkien drew for his fantasy world more than any other legend. It's called the Saga of King Hodric the Wise. And I was also not surprised when I discovered that Elric's character had been drawn from this same saga. And I didn't understand it when I was about 30 years old in my 20s. Just put it aside. A few years ago, I read it. Because I'd matured more, I was able to get into the style of the story, the poetics of it, and I realised what a work it was. What absolutely classic piece of work. It's just got, interesting stories. Like you get a guy called Hodric who kills his brother, not fully intentionally. He gets exiled, and before he goes, his father says, "Son, there's a whole list of things you should never do in life." So what does Hodric go and do? Does all of them. And that causes his death in the end.
Yeah.
Just brilliant stuff like that. It's just the classic basis of fictional stories. And this is, a really old and sort of original work. It's funny how people haven't heard of it. I could keep on having the
time. Reminds me. Let me see if I can.
What book was that, Stephen?
Saga of King Hodric the Wise. also known as the Havara saga.
Oh yeah, you sent it to me, Stephen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read a bit of it.
You know what it reminds me of? Have you been catching some interesting memes lately? Anybody? How about this one? Rest of America. Fucking count faster, Nevada. You know what? I'm going to start counting even slower.
Oh, that's from... No, I don't know.
Us foaming at the mouth. Asking Nevada to give us the results. Nevada. Well, now I'm not doing it. Everyone waiting when Nevada will count the votes. Nothing says 2020 like the fate of the nation resting in the hands of Reno, Nevada. Let me see. Where am I? Here we go. Nevada, while the whole world is watching. Can you hurry and count the votes? Nevada. No, I don't think I will. There you go.
Oh, that's No Neck Ed. Sorry, I just know him from 90 Day Fiancé. The program.
There you go. If I'll Do It Tomorrow was a state.
Probably my I'll have to criticize the morals of the world as I see a lot of people who are trying to grab something. You get what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are trying to grab something. And this seems to be the state of the world's morals. And maybe they haven't learned that the real trick is to be something rather than trying to grab something. Yeah, everyone wants to improve their lot by being the silly fool that they are and then grabbing something that will make them great. Well, that's probably the deception. Perhaps learn what's to be learned is how to be rather than what to grab. I don't know, is that sort of anybody going with that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that was wonderful.
No, I just see that it's like in all this politics. Politics is really so intensely full of personas that are out to grab. And they think, if I get my foot in the door and jar that door open and get inside and grab what's there, then they're still stuck with themselves, the unevolved self that they are. And maybe the real trick is to evolve who you are.
Very, very, very.
There's always a bit of Daffy Duck there. Daffy Duck's the one that, when you found the treasure in the cavern that the genie was guarding, he's going, mine, running along, Even when the genie shrunk him, that's right, he tried to knock the genie out. He thought the genie was going to steal his treasure. So the genie turns him into a tiny little Daffy Duck, and he's still screaming, trying to hold on to the treasure. Mine. You must remember that one, of course.
Yeah. No, I grew up watching Warner Brothers cartoons. Oh yeah.
So they say the big famous one was Duck Rogers in the 24th.
Best ever. Yeah. No, nothing better. The Warner Brothers cartoons.
Then there was Daffy Duck as the heroic sheriff-style figure riding along on this big silver horse with Porky Pig as comedy relief, riding along on a donkey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those are great.
Bugs was always a bit hard to figure out. What was he after, you wonder? He just seemed to be out, just cruising along. He didn't seem to be out.
There you go. Okay. I was just going to say. Joining now. Okay, refresh. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I do. I do like good science fiction. I grew up reading science fiction. Robert Heinlein, Larry Niven, people like that.
Time Enough for Love, one of my friends, one of my best friend's favorite books, who reads it every couple of years.
Which one?
That book. Time Enough for Love.
Oh, Heinlein, was it?
That's a Heinlein, yeah.
That's quite impressive work. That's it really is.
I remember what was that about. I'm sure I've read it.
Lazarus Long.
Yeah.
Lazarus Long.
Maybe I haven't read it.
He was more or less immortal. Almost. One step away from being immortal, but he still had time.
I haven't read it then. No.
Good metaphor for life.
I think I did read one called Revolts in 2100, wasn't it? Where America had been taken over by religious prophets. And he was part of the Sorry?
Nehemiah Scudder.
That was the prophet, was it?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I read Heinlein.
How long have you all been doing this? Since June, you said?
Well, I started the group back in June. The first thing we did was From Hell. That took us 8 weeks to do the whole From Hell, 8 weeks of that. And then we've done a few things here and there, a couple other stuff after that. And then I think everybody agreed we just want to do one smaller things than From Hell. There's a lot of longer things, but yeah, we're going to do just smaller pieces from now on. I think Stephen came in. I think the first one you were on was Beautiful Darkness. I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
First one. I think
you did say that you're a bit interested in the Joe Haldeman science fiction.
That's novel. On the schedule. I believe that's going to be in February. I believe it's in February.
The Forever War.
Forever War is on schedule. I mean,
which is sounding a bit like today with the culture wars.
I put that on the schedule right for you. That's not true. I didn't, but I'll just tell you I did. But yeah, we'll do that one. And Jeff, you just joined because of Alan Moore Century, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it would be cool to have a group of people who want to, a lot of people have come here and they say, like the same as with all meetups. I mean, it's not just this group, it's all meetups. People who say they want to get involved and interested, and then they never come back. And, yeah, that's fine. I understand people are busy. So, but, yeah, we have movie groups, we have literature groups. So we should have at least one comic group.
How does a movie group work on Meetup?
Well, you got to watch the movie on your own, and then we come here and discuss it. Yeah, I mean, ideally, you're supposed to read the book on your own, and then before you come to the group and discuss it. And same here for the comics group. Yeah, it's harder. Well, it's more fun doing it that way. The thing that happened last week with the Mulholland Drive Tuesday night was it's not a full watch, but you got the movie and it's a share screen. We're going to put on the movie. And as soon as anybody has a comment, they just say, stop. Okay, we'll stop. And we'll talk about, okay, now in this scene, this is what's this is a reference to Sunset Boulevard. And you can see now what Lynch is doing when he contrasts this and that and the other. and then okay, we're done, let's move on, and then you go on to the next minute or 2 minutes, and then somebody else says stop. Okay, at this point I want to point out this, that, and the other, and then you do that way. And obviously it takes several hours to do a full movie, which is why they don't finish the movie. And actually they're going to do I think they did the first hour, and then they're going to do part 2. I think that's already been scheduled, actually. I didn't
watched anything of Lynch's in a long time. I remember the Eraserhead from
yeah, I saw that. What do you so Jeff, you really liked Mulholland Drive?
I did. Yeah. Back when you could go to movies, I ran a movie group where we'd go to an independent art house movie theater in Chicago, and we'd watch the movie, and then afterwards we would sit in a little couched area and talk about the movie. And that's kind of how we did it. That's the nice thing about living in Chicago. We have a number of good art house cinemas when you used to be able to go to movies.
Yeah.
Blue Velvet was the one
I saw that. My feeling is I had to read a few explanation articles about Mulholland Drive, and my feeling is, okay, I get it, and I can understand why a lot of people don't get it, but I get the feeling that this is a movie that doesn't care if you get it. Yeah. The movie itself doesn't care if you get it.
No, that's right. That's right. The old sheet, I don't know if it's still available, but when I was learning about films, you could get the Criterion Collection DVD, and they had a track of the world's expert on the movie, and they had a voice narration of the movie, and that's how you could learn about it.
This is a movie that's not going to help you.
Yeah,
it doesn't help you anyway. It's not going to. Now, I just think that you can, if you want to, try to work out, okay, what is actually going on. I think that's a complete waste of time, because you're not going to get anywhere with that. I just don't think that's going to matter. You probably can, but it's I don't think there's any point to that.
I give you a reference to that. There was an old art movie by Alan Rene called Last Year at Marienbad, which comes from a novel. And I remember watching it once confused, watching it a second time with the narrator, getting it, randomly going to a screening for another event because someone had made it into an opera, and then asked to give a talk about it afterwards, and I did. I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what the movie's about. I just remember liking it.
Yeah.
I said something that probably came from the voiceover narrative, but I don't remember it.
This has nothing.
Okay, anybody work out what Twin Peaks was about then?
Yeah, that was a fun one. No.
Well, it had everybody watching it, but I think it put the general audiences off David Lynch for good, I think. So what did you make of the dwarf that was dancing? Didn't figure it out. Well,
no. I think I mentioned this earlier tonight. I have, from my other book groups where we're mostly reading the classic 19th century novels, and in those, the dwarf has a very particular role. Your life is you just screwed up, and you're being dragged to the gutter, and the dwarf's going to take you there. So I only can see the dwarf that way.
I got the feeling he was drawing on a figure from Knut Hamsun's book Mysteries, 1890, Norwegian author. He was very fond of Dostoevsky.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So you might say he was a bit like Dostoevsky, but without the sentimentality.
Very cool.
And there was a dwarf character in that, and there was, it was probably his greatest novel, but you'd probably have to reread it and read it again to figure out what the hell was all about. Very modern though. It was a novel that was distinctly modern in style, although it was written in 1890. I mean, it was more modern than the stuff that was going around in 1890. Yeah, it's just you know, it's sort of I might have to read it again, see if I can figure out what was going on in the novel. But a lot of very sort of symbolic figures.
No, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Well, I've reached my bedtime. Nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, I think it's time to go then.
Sure, Jeff. Well, anybody wants to, they can. Yeah. All right. See you next week, Jeff. Yeah, I think Perfect Blue is actually going to be an interesting conversation Tuesday night. So if anyone wants to join that.
Perfect Blue, what's that about?
I don't know.
It's a Japanese anime movie, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. I'll give it some.
I haven't seen it yet. I need to. I'm planning to watch it before Tuesday, obviously.
Well, so we're just going to discuss the movie rather than. Are we just going to discuss it, or like, are we going to watch it together?
No, it's not a watch along. It's.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. All right then.
We've got Nietzsche coming up at some point. Have you already put up stuff for Nietzsche?
Yeah.
Great. I better listen to the lectures and that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I posted almost as soon as I can after the last meeting. I try. Yeah. I mean, you're on the group, so you should get the announcements.
Oh, I think I blocked all that out because I couldn't stand getting all the stuff from. So I actually have to look it up.
Yeah, I agree.
You end up winding up with all this stuff you start getting from Meetup.
Yeah. I use folders. I just put it on my inbox. I use a lot of different folders for a lot of different stuff, and just to keep things organized.
Oh, right. So you just transport stuff out of your inbox into a.
Well, if you put a filter on and say, for this, anything that comes from this sender will go to this folder. Yeah. You can do that on your email client, whatever you use. No, I put up, the next week's thing as soon as.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've just been paying too much attention.
Yeah. As soon as the last week's one is finished, then I'll put up the next one.
Yeah, I only finished reading the 1969 this morning. I read about a quarter of it and then left it a few days and read it all this morning in Australia. That was morning in Australia.
Next week, the exciting conclusion.
Yeah. I'll be intrigued to see. What would you say? You've read it already, have you? Or
I'm in the middle of reading 2009. Yeah.
So how does it work out?
Well, I'm not finished yet.
So Mina's only 90 years old, right? So it wouldn't really be wearing on her that much, would it?
Well, let's see here. Okay.
Well, they say the first 100 years is the toughest.
We got a new
Stephen. 200, 300.
We got 1897. Bram Stoker's novel was 1897. But okay, that's when it was published. But does it take place in 1987? Plot. I guess so. Yeah, it doesn't say specifically, but I guess so.
1987. What's that?
The novel Dracula by Bram Stoker was published in 1897.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. 1897. You're right. Yeah.
So assuming that it must take place in thereabouts 1890s, and assuming the character Wilhelmina Murray must be she's probably a teenager, 19-ish, let's say.
Yeah. So they're saying that she's 90 years old. She was born in 1879. So she's an 18-year-old at the time of Dracula.
Yeah, I would guess. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're coming right in to the book without having read all of the previous books, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Who are these people? What's going on? Yeah. But that's the case. It's like a television show. When you start in the middle of a TV series, and you go, well, you just got to catch up. It's hard, and unless you go back and go from the beginning, which maybe you will, maybe you won't. A lot of people don't
find a PDF for them on the internet.
An actual TV set, you mean?
No. This Century 1969.
Well, either tell me what you'd like and I'll send it, or I'll just show you where you go to get stuff.
Tell me where to go.
Okay, yeah, that'll be easier, wouldn't it? You don't do torrents or anything like that.
Oh, I'll do torrents.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool.
We have to get it off the Pirate Bay. I didn't think to look there.
Okay, I mean, this is one really great source for getting anything you want. If you want, I'm doing it to you personally because I don't want that. Why exclude Stephen and Natalia? It's pretty exhaustive. There's lots and lots of stuff on there. It's usually my go-to to get stuff.
I assume you have to join up or something like that, do you?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No, just there's a search function. Just search and download whatever you want.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I easily found that comic book I was looking for was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah, it was a Dell comic. Something I haven't seen in a long time, but I was quite enchanted by it.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody thinks Captain Nemo looks like James Mason. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
He was a Sikh. He was an Indian prince. I got in a conversation with a teacher once, and I said that to him, and he said, "Oh, not in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea." I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, that was only in Mysterious Island."
All right.
It's the same character.
That was the
same character. It's the same character. He's not a Sikh in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but he is in Mysterious Island. It's the same character. What?
Well, there was the first film version of Mysterious Island. That was in the early 60s, which I used to love when I was a kid. But they did a remake of it, I think. Mysterious Island, you must have seen the 60s version of the film.
No.
Oh, well, you know, sort of stuff, you know, they have all, you know, giant, they escape in, you know, the story, of course, they escape from the American Civil War in a balloon, Richmond, you know, escape from Richmond and end up on this mysterious island, which has all this, you know, sort of stuff. They're fighting giant crabs and stuff like that on it. And, you know, it's quite a fantastic story, but I don't know how well it did at the box office. It was a big, very, very popular Saturday matinee sort of film.
I'm going to head off to sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for coming here, and I'm glad you joined. I'm glad you're interested in being a part of here.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be in touch. Lots of stuff to organize.
Yeah, we'll chat.
Okay, definitely. Sure, we'll. All right, bye. Natalia, do you know how to blend two images together in Photoshop?
Wait, is this actually urgent?
No. I already did the thing I was going to do. I didn't do the way I wanted to do it.
Because I thought I'll wait till like the end.
I'm still annoyed that...
Probably do like next week, so... Really? So
well, that's your outlet at the moment, Natalia. That's presently your goal in life, and if you want to get somewhere, you have to work on it.
I know.
Either you'll find out it works for you, or it doesn't. If it doesn't work for you, well, you have to find something else then.
Yeah, I just
that's the trouble. Yeah. You need to be out there.
Yeah, I just like to delay things. I guess like there's too much in front of me, and then I just get overwhelmed and. Yeah.
So I suppose when you love what you're doing, that's the big driver. If you've got that feeling for it, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost finished with that animation that I sent you.
Oh yeah. The one with what was that? Came out. The wings came out, or something like that.
Yeah. So she. I don't know. I don't even know what that was about, honestly. I just wanted to show like
You don't have to know. You can do it. And then try and figure it out later, you know. This is the way art works.
Yeah, that's a good advice. She just transformed into an angel as soon as she, you know, and as she prays.
This is the thing, to build a story, you build it by putting a load of short sequences together. You create a sequence. Mm-hmm. It's a short story, and then you create another short story, and then you try to join them together into one grand narrative. Does that make sense, David?
I would go along with that, sure. Okay.
But what if when you try to compile that sequences and you figure out later that it doesn't really connect? So you have to change, you know.
Well, you call it 1910 and do it as a free penny opera, and then it mysteriously makes sense after that.
Yeah,
that's what I thought of 1910. I thought there was something disjointed about it. 1969, I felt, well, that was a story.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a three-parter. You got to read all three parts for it to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the thing. You build. I think famous one is The Illustrated Man. You ever heard of that?
Bradbury?
Yeah, Bradbury. Yeah, that's a sequence of short stories which they made into an entire theme for the film. You ever seen the film? The Brad Steiger and very interesting. They've been working on a remake which has got nowhere in recent years. It's what the story starts off as is this rather not a particularly intelligent guy. They're just wandering around. You know, it's either just after World War I or the 1920s. There's the primitive automobile, your Model T, the the phone lines are everywhere, but you just got, looks like, you know, your Western farmlands with the phone lines. And he's just you know, a circus sort of worker, you know, putting up the tents and stuff like that. And there's this, comes across this house, and there's this rather attractive woman in it called Felicia, who does tattoos. Only you don't call them tattoos, you call them skin illustrations. And so he years later, he's wandering around the West looking for her, and he meets this young guy, and yeah, I don't call them tattoos, they're skin illustrations. And what happened to him is he was just looking to get laid with this attractive woman. But you've got to beware that attractive women are not always safe women. This is the lure, you see. And she's a type of a witch. And she eventually cons him into being totally covered in tattoos or skin illustrations. Each tattoo is a story which possesses his soul. So you go into the short story, and he's lost himself. In the end, the house vanishes. You just see the foundations of the house, and he's naked after he'd been lying in bed with her, and his clothes are on a kitchen table chair just sitting in the middle of nowhere. And if you go through the entire story, you start to figure out what the trick to it is.
Mm.
But, you know, the amazing thing, the loss of your soul, the loss of your innocence, it's gradually torn away from him by this seemingly lovely, attractive woman. And then you realise, no, she's a carnivore of the soul.
That's deep.
Yeah, very, very deep film. I liked it. Oh, God.
Mm.
Illustrated Man, the film. Oh, my God, never seen that.
Science fiction short stories. Yeah.
He wrote a series of short stories which came under that cover, The Illustrated Man, but it was turned into a narrative more in the movie.
I think I might watch it. I'll find it instant. I don't know if they have it.
Okay, I think I'm going to stick with the, well, next week, the 13th is Century. Well, let me, if anybody minds. Here we go. Pump that up a bit. So, Century 2009 for next week. And we have Satania on the 20th. I think I'm going to keep that. This is a thing we have in America called Thanksgiving. There's a thing we have in America called Thanksgiving. So I'm going to not have
all right,
a meeting that day, but I don't mind putting on Nemo for that day. Would that be okay for you guys?
The same time?
Yeah, same time. But it'll be Nemo. Because that's the next one in the series. So we'll do that for the 27th. And I don't expect any Americans to show up, but it'll be you guys. Yeah, why not? And then we have Woman Rebel on December 4th. Margaret Sanger. This, I believe, I've forgotten what that would be. Sandman. There's a lot of empty spots here. Oh, there's Christmas. So I think we're probably not going to do, definitely not going to do a meeting for that. Let me see if I got it, actually. Yeah, Satania and... Oh, Strange
Maybe we
Death
can do
of
like
Alex
a
Raymond.
movie, like a movie discussion, and then after that followed by a Christmas
The what?
celebration. A digital Christmas celebration.
Okay, Strange Death of Alex Raymond, the creator of Flash Gordon. Alex Raymond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then A Contract with God. on January 1st, New Year's Day. Contract God. After that, I'm happy to change any of this, but this is what it is for the moment. All stuff that I'm interested in. So where is Forever War? April 16. There you go. Forever War, April 16. You want to bump it up?
It looks like you've got quite a list of subjects going into the far future there.
You want to bump
yeah, he's
up?
well prepared.
Oh no, you can do what you like. Oh, that's right. You better tell Natalia about your plan for a time change.
Oh.
A toll charge?
Time change.
Oh.
You're changing the time of this meeting, and it's probably not going to be good for Natalia because you're thinking about doing it 90 minutes earlier than.
Yeah, is that good for you, Natalia? 90 minutes.
Wait,
early?
What do you mean? Like, wait, what meetings? Saturday meeting?
Yeah, it's currently 12:30, and David will push it back to what for us is 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I think 12:30 is the best actually. I prefer.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, because I might come late because I'm doing some housework. It takes a lot of time.
Okay. Yeah, it's just something.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I'll consider it of you, Stephen.
The only reason I have it at this time was because there was another meetup that was at 11 a.m. and then that doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. So now I don't have to have it at this time.
All right.
So, David, what do you do with yourself during the week besides do all these fantasy and science fiction sort of and comic book stuff?
Yeah, exactly. This is my life.
That's your career, is it? Your personal career?
Oh, I'm unemployed. Yeah, this is it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right. So what's it like being on, well, if you're unemployed in America, I suppose the benefits aren't that great, are they? I think they cut out after a while, although you might be doing okay at the moment if they got you on lockdown or something like that.
Well, I've never applied for unemployment compensation.
Oh, rightio. So how do you get along? You said you're staying at your father's place.
Yeah, I'm here at my dad's, so I don't pay any rent. So, I mean, if I had a wife and kids, I couldn't do it, but I don't. So,
rightio. So, what sort of work did you do in the past?
Front desk, overnight shift, 24-hour fitness.
Oh, okay.
Nobody comes in at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., so do a lot of reading. Get a lot of reading done.
Yeah, I suppose that's a tragedy of today that, when I think it was back in the 1960s, there used to be a lot of jobs around, but now it's just getting harder to get stuff these days.
I kind of went from being a student to being retired without ever having a career in between those two things.
Stephen, but do you reckon that, like the government might need more people coming from overseas to work in Australia because of the pandemic, right? And, like the international students aren't able to get back to universities and that affected the campuses and because that's what the other Stephen told me. He told me like to get like a PR as soon as possible. And then I'm just sort of
a VR.
PR, permanent residence. Residency.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is what I've said to you, Natalia, that don't sit on your hands. You don't have to pursue it aggressively, but do look into things. Don't ignore it because it can take a long time. It's not like it was in the past where it was pretty easy. And they tend to make things harder all the time. So for some strange reason, there's a chance that comes in front of you where they say, oh, yeah, we'll give you permanent residence just because the way things are at the moment. You grab it. I'm afraid that's where life is now. That 1960s, 1970s was more the time when you could just float around and not worry so much. But today there's a lot of competition for everything, and yeah, you just, as you said, Jakarta's not going to be really the sort of place you want to.
No, my dad doesn't want me to stay in. Yeah, he doesn't want me to stay in Jakarta anymore.
And as you said, compared to Jakarta, Melbourne's a nicer place to live.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're pointing out the pollution. This is the thing I noticed.
Yeah, pollution.
That how bad pollution is. I didn't realise, mainly the car and traffic pollution. But here I noticed that about back in March, when everything had just slowed down because of the virus. And I remember going down the beach just before they locked us down to, within 5 kilometres or some road, or you weren't supposed to leave your house. And it was a Monday just before he did that. And I went down to Mordialloc Beach, and because there was so little pollution, you could just see right across the bay, and even all the clouds and everything were really clear. And even when I was coming home, it was getting dark. Everything was just so clear, and you felt better. And I noticed going up for a walk in the hills, I went up again yesterday, that, the air's a bit clearer and you just feel so much better. And when you say, I looked up Jakarta, one of the most polluted cities in the world, and I see what you mean. There's something about it that is just really unhealthy and unhappy.
There's too many cars and, like motorcycles and...
Too many Muslims as well who...
Too many Muslims. Oh, I can't say that out loud anymore. There was this one really young guy. I think he uploaded like a TikTok video where he's like, I think he mentioned a bit about like the prophet or whatever, and then they just took it really, too hard, and he's arrested. Oh, you heard about that news?
No, I didn't. I might have come across it and just breezed past it. I don't know.
But you've heard of the other guy who got beheaded, right?
That was in Europe somewhere, was it?
Yeah, it was in France, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was doing a class and saying this might offend some people, so he was bringing up the issues of the prophet, and so they organised his beheading.
It just shows, they're pretty...
Well, this is the world we're heading in for now. It's amazing, but your different cultures just have the different standards. The Europeans, the Westerners have their bad sides as well, but they're not strictly into that one, about, getting upset. So far, haven't been big on getting upset about ideas. So you've had, up until now, a fairly free exchange of ideas more in the West than other places. But an aspect, I think, with the Muslims is when they look at themselves collectively, in the entire old world, they're the underachievers. Your whole world is from Europe, Middle East, India, China, and that's where the big part of the world where all the advances were. And you check the history of the Muslims since they've adopted the Muslim faith, and they've just gone backwards more than anything. And when you're brought up to that, and you're taught that your culture is the greatest culture in the world, and then you see everybody else is bypassing you, you think, this is just wrong. And this is the human animal. And, people, this is why I fight with the humanists so much, that they think we are above that. And I don't think we are. And it's probably better to be aware of it than pretend that we're something better than that. They just don't see that. I look at Yeah, I was at a humanist lecture. Matali was there, and the guy, he's obviously, he's 91, and he locked himself up with Marxist ideology for about 50 years, I think. And so everything was collective. I said to her, I brought up the subject of individualism, and he said, individualism is evil. Right. Okay. I said, thank you. We'll just leave it there. You can watch the whole, if you're so inclined, David, you can watch the whole thing if you like. I can find.
Did they put it up?
They put it on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where is it? Oh yeah. Right. Okay.
Muslim.
Humanist News. Humanist Victoria, you'd find it on YouTube.
I think Brian Ellis probably. Yeah, he's the author for that New Enlightenment book.
Oh, there we are. See James here. I think this is the most amazing lecture to watch. It just absolutely says, oh, right, got the wrong one. Final reminder, my God, am I lost? Oh, here we are. Right. Yeah, you'll hear me, getting a bit flustered with his attitudes at a certain point, which I should watch it again myself, actually, but I've got a dramatically different view of the world, and this is the interesting thing. You've got to think about Nietzsche and Heidegger, and that is not a collectivist view of the world. That's a far more individualist view of the world. So, existentialism, I think this is a whole thing. Existentialism is, if you look at the major figures, they are 180 degrees with Feuerbach, with Marx, and somewhat with Hegel. And it's over the question of the individual. And existentialism was a struggle to give the individual their place in the universe. Hegel creates a giant vision of humanity where this giant wanders along, the historical process rolls along like a juggernaut, crushing the individual. And, your existentialists from Kierkegaard, Max Stirner, Dostoevsky, Nietzsche, are getting up their fists and saying, they're the cockroach. It's saying, I'm not going to put up with this. I'm going to rise to the occasion and fight back. And then they get crushed. What do you think of that, David? Martin Luther, this is why I'm so interested in Martin Luther. You got this biblical ogre. But you realise, you look at the classic range of Greek philosophers, you look at the whole period of Greek philosophers, and then you've got, Greek philosophers that show up, or thinkers, way before Plato. There was a series of them. But, the world concentrates on Plato and Aristotle. But I would say Martin Luther was a philosopher of modern times, even if he was very imperfect. He was a person that created a place for the individual. And that's what I think is so important about him. So, when you look at the world today, you look at, towering buildings, mega structures everywhere. There was even a TV show called Mega Structures. unemployment megastructures, government megastructures. You know, where's the little guy? Where's a David Riol that just liked to hang with his cowboy hat on the lean against a lamppost, rolling a cigarettes and looking at the sunset, you know, in his small western town. No, it's giant Walmarts everywhere, and you, the little man, the individual, has been squeezed out, you know, like. And I'm saying, you know, it's like Land of the Giants, you know, Irwin Allen. Remember that show?
Yeah.
That I think that's a message, you know, the incredible shrinking man, you know, was Richard Matheson, wasn't it? Yeah. What's happened to the individual in history? The individual, yeah, there were some big things around, you know, you're the hero fighting Attila the Hun, but that was just a lot of small men. Or, you know, you're the hero. Oh, okay, you had the occasional monster, I admit that, or the dragon. But even the dragons got bigger. Did you see what they did to the dragon in The Hobbit? It's a flipping monster. Yeah, you know, it's just, the dragons just got bigger and, you know, the heroes got smaller. What can we do? But do you get what I mean? That in a sense, this whole existential, as they call it, existential philosophy is about us, the individual, and our place in the universe. And to prevent us being reduced to just this insignificant cog in the grand machine.
But the humanists, I think, Brian Ellis called it social democracy or something.
Oh, yeah, just attached democracy. Democracy is one of those nice words. I'll call myself a fascist Democrat. Democracy, or, you know, a socialist fascist Democrat. How about Christian? The Christian, well, I don't know. Christians, maybe Buddhist. You know, a bit of religion always helps, I think. So we'll add another one in. That'll score some more points with the public. To me, this is just how crap the modern world is becoming. You know, it's this is the word, the authentic. You know, okay, you know, you can't chase the authentic too hard or you become inauthentic, but keep authenticity in mind. You know, are you trying, well, nature does pretend. And we do pretend in life, but when everything becomes nothing but pretense, it's sounding like an episode of the Outer Limits or something like that, you know. So I was thinking that'd be an episode of the Outer Limits when, well, that was a joke, wasn't it? You know, when in the Back to the Future, when he goes back to the professor in the past, he goes, oh, who's president in the 1980s? Ronald Reagan. The actor? And you could make it an Outer Limits episode. You know, guys, you know, he's a Democrat, he's rolling along, Obama's president, and then he wakes up one morning and Ronald Reagan's president. Donald Trump is president. He's going, this can't be, this is a nightmare. Finally, you know, you have that classic scene when he's backed into a corner by all the Donald Trump supporters, you know, raising their fists and beating him down. I don't know. So, David, you done any stories yourself, or you must have worked on something at some point? Try. Yeah, your own stories.
David, do you draw? I mean, just wondering. Do you like illustrate other than, you know, philosophy and?
Do I draw? Oh, you saw that little thing I did on the Nietzsche group?
Oh, that was you? Oh, I thought that was a stock image. Sorry, that wasn't. I just Oh, okay, I see. So that was you.
Thing that said how to pronounce Nietzsche.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So you did that.
That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do.
No, I think you can if you try.
I did find an artist on Twitter, and I contacted him, and I said, and I gave him that drawing, and I said, can you do 2 heads just like this, but just a lot better? How much would that cost? And he didn't reply and blocked me.
That's strange.
So, okay.
He's just paranoid. Yeah.
It was a good artist too. He would have done a good job, but
maybe I can do it in your stead.
If you want, yeah.
If I can. Is there a charge?
I was willing to pay him, so I'd be willing to pay you. But it's not a big deal. I mean, it's fine the way it is. Yeah.
I'm not for the money. Sorry.
That was Freddie Mercury too. He started off as an artist. You're doing visual drawings, and that was what he was studying in university until he became a rock star. So you never know what your talent is until you bump into it.
So if I'm an animation student now, maybe I might be I don't know.
Well, it might lead you to something else.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. What are your other options in life, Natalia?
Other options? It's a very good question. Because I've been solely thinking about just animation and art, and I've never really given much thought to others stuff.
This is the best I can do.
Hang on, I've got a call. I'll be back.
All right, so
I think I've had a pretty desolate, empty life, Stephen.
That's how I feel as well.
Yeah, no,
I was just, I was just cruising along, and all I was doing with my life was, just working and waiting for the latest science fiction series. So, that's what most of my friends were doing. And but there is a bit of me that's sort of saying there's got to be something better than that.
Yeah, well,
getting that wanderlust, go west, young man sort of feeling, it's.
Well, now you drink, so that's filling your time.
Yeah, well, I try to control that. I keep counters on how much I drank. I had 7 drinks last night. That's not quite a bottle of wine, but it's trying to keep tabs on it. If I get really pissed off with the world, I might have 14 drinks or something like that. And I've got the metabolism which can handle it. It's ancestral. I'll probably metabolize about 3 standard drinks in an hour. Body weight and size 1.5 would be about right, but they reckon that Northern Europeans in particular will have these extra enzymes that enable them to metabolize alcohol. Whereas Natalia, being Chinese, will have 1 large apple cider and say just about send no alcohol for Natalia. And that's the trouble. I never found it until late in life. My father was a heavy drinker, and I never drank when I was a kid. I never hardly ever drank until I was 25, and then a little bit. And then I finally progressed to becoming a heavy drinker when my mother was dying. Yeah, I found it. I found that self. I was a smoker at one stage. I smoked for about how long? About 17 years, I think. And strangely, I managed to give it up, and I haven't smoked since, and I miss it.
Well, okay. Well.
So I don't know, David, so what sort of fantasies did you have when you were playing in the sandpit when you were a little kid?
Mostly revolved around cartoons and comics.
Okay, you never got out, the plastic spacemen and played with them or something like that, did you?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, yeah, I had lots of toys, I remember. when I was a kid.
No, right. Only child, or?
Oh,
you had a sister. That's right. You're saying you had a sister, yeah, which you haven't seen in a while.
Well, she came over, I think, about 8 or 9 months ago. She popped in, took some stuff.
Well, maybe it's never too late. I think that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. I was just happy to live in my little headspace, in my bubble. I use the word bubble. People live in a bubble. I'll generally advise people to stay in their bubble and never get outside their bubble.
Yeah.
Because it's not always such a happy experience. I've been reading Hero with 1,000 Faces, trying to get through that. I think I'm about halfway through at the moment.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm just wondering, in my relative old age, is there somewhere more I can go? Is there some sort of personal growth I can achieve when, your body chemicals are going a bit down? I'm not too bad off, I'm still fairly strong. I haven't really got any major, or not really any health issue, although I might give myself one the way I'm going. But I look at people around me, and they due to lack of exercise, I've noticed a lot of people develop back ailments or hip ailments, and I'd probably put it down to just not doing a bit of walking. So I try to keep up a bit of walking during the day.
I used to do a health blog. I used to do a health show on college radio. I used to do a health blog, gave it up. It's very difficult to connect with other people, to motivate them to do anything. So, because they won't. So,
I think it comes down to who we are as individuals, and I don't think modern society is full of distractions. TV is a distraction. And I also would use the word temptations. And I want to join you now with my church, which is a special evangelistic church, which will take you to God. I'm only joking, of course. But, the word temptation is that you're tempted outside the simplicities of what a human being is. That, if you're living in a small village, your life path would be there, and there wouldn't be the temptation to be anything outside that. Your options are limited, and therefore there are not the questions. But we live in a culture where you've got this tremendous freedom, but it squashes you. It's like what Charlton Heston said in Planet of the Apes. Remember the start of it? We've gone out into space, and it's huge. Space is boundless. It squashes a man's ego. It makes me feel lonely. The beautiful words of the guy who compared the Twilight Zone. What was his name again? Twilight Zone, yeah. Some people claim that I've got a nice expression, an entertaining expression, which you probably won't find in America too often. America's a place where a lot of people try to be entertaining. Yeah, Rod Serling. He was the one that wrote, one of the co-authors of the script for the movie version of Planet of the Apes, and he was the one that adopted the twist where he runs into the Statue of Liberty. You ever read Monkey Planet, the novel it's based on?
No.
That was Pierre Boulle, who was also famous for writing Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, okay.
And that's a brilliant movie as well, but
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the original monkey planet is another planet where the monkeys have risen to be the dominant species rather than man. But of course, Rod Serling, doing the script for the first movie, figures, we'll make this Earth in the future. And Pierre Boulle watched the movie and he said, why didn't I think of that? That would have been a great twist at the end.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think, David, in the end, that all us losers, in the end, we're just going to learn to accept that there is something somewhere we can do. And I think this is what the existentialists were trying to teach us, that no, you're not a loser, you're an individual, and you might have to fight a little bit for it, but you have to, claw that space for the individual against the giants. Well, it's like the Norse or the Greek gods fighting the giants, so. God, it's so a few odd jobs in your life. You're starting to sound like Knut Hamsun now. That was his story, I think, before he became an author. He went to America for a number of years, so he wrote about some of his experiences in America, and then he went back to Norway, and there was always an amoral edge to Knut Hamsun, though. There was a harshness there, which was sort of fascinating. Of course, here, Dostoevsky, so you got the four horsemen of the apocalypse of existentialism was Kierkegaard, Max Stirner, Dostoevsky and Nietzsche, who never would have called themselves existentialists. But the term arises with Kierkegaard when it's a contemporary of his says to Kierkegaard, so I guess you're looking for this sort of existential way of viewing things, and Kierkegaard said, yeah. So that was where the term was drawn out. Now, I don't know if Sartre's a really great exemplar. He became the prophet of existentialism rather than the god, one of the gods of existentialism.
Okay.
Oh well, I better let you go. I think I better fly off into the wild blue yonder.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late. Yeah, okay. So I guess I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, on the Monday night session.
Oh, there's the Monday night too. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know. There's the other Nietzsche group as well. They're on Sunday, aren't they? Occasionally, once a month.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I went to that first one, but didn't keep up with it.
Oh yeah, David S. You remember David S., the Marxist?
Yeah, I do.
I sort of friendly with him. I think he likes me for my funny persona. But of course, he's a hardcore Marxist as well, and I'm completely on opposite ends here. And
sure.
Here's what I say to people, about Donald Trump. It's or maybe you can point out a million bad things. Don't demonise him. Be a bit fair in your appraisal. And when you say that he's killed 200,000 Americans, that's a bit iffy. It's a bit, like what's happened in California. How much of a lockdown do you still have there?
I mean, it still exists, but like the only thing you notice is people wearing masks. That's all.
So what's the rules on just when you go in the shops?
Yeah. Most shops are saying,
in Melbourne, they even if you walk in the park, you have to wear a mask. It's really sucks. Bad.
Yeah.
But this is a thing that the coronavirus is still. It was slowed down in California, but it's just catching up.
That seems to be the case, yeah. I wear a mask anywhere I go because I'm not going to risk it. I just don't want to risk it at all. So,
the odds are you probably will get it at some stage, but you were proclaiming your health, so you should be. Well, this is a thing. As time's gone on, their treatments have improved.
I rarely leave the house.
All right, California's getting up to 453 deaths per million. So, I mean, there's places well ahead of it, like Florida, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not leaving you. It's not going to leave you until it's done its thing.
Yeah.
And when they talked about trying to eliminate the virus, maybe you could do that in some parts of the world, but it's just going to come back because there are parts of the world where it'll circulate. And so California, it peaked back in July at about, it was getting up to 12,000 cases a day, and then it dropped a bit, and now it's climbing again. It's gotten up to about 7,000 cases a day. And so the deaths have been declining. So down to about, 75 a day or something like that. But the thing is, you just don't know with the deaths that how many of those people would have died of complications, old age and stuff like that anyway, because you just don't know. And I think the Swedes had the right idea, but see that they're actually in their constitution, it's actually illegal to lock people down unless it's criminal or something like that. I suppose they can throw you in prison, but there's a law which says you're allowed to roam, that your freedom to roam cannot be restricted. And so I think, their health expert realised it was going to be such a clash with their law that, well, this is the thing, Sweden hasn't done that bad. People keep on saying that but I mean, it's had less deaths per million than places that locked down heavily. When these places opened up again, well, the virus just came back with a vengeance. So, I just find it very control freaky. There just seems to be a lot of middling sort of technical people that are on government payrolls who figure I've got to justify my wage by making everybody else's life hell. Has that thought ever crossed your mind? No. You don't want to admit it, no. Well, I'll be there in front of the firing squad one day and I'll scream out, "Oh, I wish I had more than one life to give for my hero, Donald Trump." Anyway, I'll let you go. Catch you another time.
Yeah, Monday. Okay, Steven.
Okay, bye.
Hey, Matan.
Is it over?
Yeah. We're just done right now.
Sorry, I just had a call from my dad.
Yeah.
Wait, so what was what were you guys about on Monday again? Or maybe not?
Well, it's the Nietzsche group. That's Tuesday morning for you.
Oh, okay, right. All right then. Okay, see you, David.
And if you wanted to do the Tuesday night for me, Wednesday morning for you.
Wednesday morning for me.
It's the Perfect Blue.
Yep.
Movie discussion. That's on another group. That's on Edmonton, Canada.
Oh, okay.
So you got to join that group to participate, because I'm not going to give you the Zoom link. You'll have to join.
Okay. What is it called again?
Well, if you look on the calendar on our group and check for you, what is
it? Okay, sure. I'll check. Yep.
Perfect Blue movie discussion. And then there's the link that goes to the Edmonton, Canada group, where you would have to join in order to participate in that. Have you seen the movie?
No, I've just seen like some clips of it. That's why when I look at it, I'm a bit familiar.
I think I'm gonna have to watch it tomorrow because I don't.
Yeah, I have to rewatch it as well.
Watch it.
Or else I might not recall.
I'll have to watch it tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay then. Bye, David. I'll work on that thing as soon as possible. Probably when.
It's just annoying. I just want to know why it's not working. I just want to know that. No, I already did the thing I was doing, but
okay.
I just want to know. Just annoying.
Okay, bye-bye. See you on Nietzsche.
See you in the Nietzsche group. Okay.